The cringe is forcing my skeleton out of my body like toothpaste from a tube.
Her taking the suit off is part of the magic, but once she's done it, I don't know, like, you know.
There are accusations out there that I am obsessed with buckets in video games. And those accusations are true.
Boom charcuterie! He's got a point value!
Check out the fully Ramblematic merchandise in our Second Wind store. There's t-shirts, stickers, pins, a fully posable magnet of mead you can put on your fridge, dishwasher or meth lab. Go to shop.secondwindgroup.com and check it out.
Here at Second Wind, we sure do like talking, but not everyone wants to look at us while we talk. Well, good news! Our podcasts like Windbreaker, Firelink, DevHeads, and The Rewind, plus audio-only episodes of Fully Ramblematic and Adventure is Nigh are all on Spotify or your PPP. And that's your preferred podcast platform.
Well, hello, everyone, and welcome back to The Rewind, episode number 46 for Tuesday, May 19th, 2026. Marty Sleva here, joined by Darren Mooney, Jack Packard, and producer Eric. We got a humdinger. You know what? Unlike certain weeks, we got a movie that we all enjoyed this week, which is really nice.
We'll talk about Mortal Kombat 2 later.
Listen, one of us enjoyed Mortal Kombat 2, but we'll get to that. Yeah, we're going to talk about the new horror movie Obsession that just yesterday became the number one movie at the box office in the U.S., surpassed Michael. Get bent, Jackson. He's probably
very interesting choice of words there.
Yeah, I didn't mean that. Whatever. We're going to just press on. We're also going to talk about, as we mentioned, Mortal Kombat 2 and some Batman Part 2 casting news. To which I'm going to try to test Darren, not test, but just see if Darren can piece together what this movie might be about via its casting and certain rumors about who they may be. Darren, you're smart. Look at all those comic books. If you got a whole vault of comic books, if you got a whole sarcophagus of comic books, and you can't tell us what this movie is going to be about.
Yeah.
Chris Evans's comic book dungeon.
Very inside baseball reference.
How are you guys doing? Completely different. Probably not the Chris Evans you're thinking of, audience.
No.
Darren, how are things? How are tricks?
I'm good. I'm back from vacation, so I'm very energized. I have definitely seen a whole bunch of stuff that I certainly can't talk about. Certainly not stuff that has me filing articles for mid to late August in the chat. But yeah,
I thought it was I literally thought the date was wrong because you sent in two columns and you said getting ahead of these, and the dates were for the end of August, and I was like, that can't be true. Like, what? I'm not ready for the stuff I have due on Thursday. What are you talking about? End of August? Incredibly impressive. Jack, do you have your work done for the end of August?
For the end of August? Absolutely not. Like, I don't even know what work I will yet be late on by the end of August.
I think Adventures I will be done by then. Maybe. Who knows?
Right? Who knows?
I don't know how every other week's work. But yeah, and theoretically, Nick has told me he's got a stream at 3. Him and Jenna are starting Prince of Persia at 3, which means a nice tight 2.5 hours today, boys. This is going to be great.
Real quick, Marty, from a comment, Tyrell wants to know, because Darren and I have kind of contrasting thoughts on the kind of art house picture, The Testament of Anne Lee. Marty was set to be the tiebreaker, but last 2 weeks ago, he had only made it through the first 30 minutes to 45 minutes of the movie. And so he's now had 2 weeks fully to prepare. So why don't we start off the podcast with some Anne Lee talk? Marty, what'd you think of the second half?
I sat down about 7:38. Yeah, this 7:30, 8 p.m. last night, fired up. I'm like, this is it. This is my Anne Lee night. However, game 1 of the NBA Western Conference Finals between the Oklahoma City Thunder and the San Antonio Spurs was on. And I was like, well, I should watch a little bit of this. Ended up going into double overtime, Jack. And you can't Anne Lee after a double overtime. Also, I forgot. But the double overtime, I don't know, Darren, I don't know if
That
you're
was
doing an episode of the
definitely a
250. You're going to hear about this double overtime. Victor Wembanyama, all 7'9" of him. He looks like a big old French alien. Oh my God, he's great. Do you know about Victor Wembanyama? Have you ever heard that name before, Darren?
No, but now I'm going to casually drop it in conversation and see.
Yeah, his when we were in the biz, we call him Wemby.
Wemby.
Wemby. Okay. Yeah, he's a French import. He's like 22 years old. He's French.
My backyard.
He went to Tibet during the summer to train with Buddhists, so like monks.
Really?
Did he do it via montage to like a synth score?
Yeah,
the sun setting behind him as he like passes the ball.
It's his Karate Kid montage.
Yeah.
He understands what wax on and wax off means. But no, Testament of Anne Lee will return in the future.
No, we need to stop. Well, let's stop the lie. Marty won't watch the rest of it. We will never have this conversation because what it means is the first bit that Marty watched wasn't good enough for him to finish it, which means that Jack is correct.
I mean,
Jack
to be fair,
wins.
if I really liked that opening 30 minutes, I probably would have finished it.
Kept watching, yes.
But who knows? Who knows? Maybe the rest of the movie was great. There's no way to know. I can't judge things.
It's so good when we reach like rewind episode 200 and Marty's like, guys, Anne Lee.
That's going to be our break glass in case of emergency funding goal. When we're like, guys, we need a last minute funding goal to push us over the edge. What is it going to be? Yeah. It's going to be Anne Lee, and we're going to see the bar go down. And we're going to be like, I didn't know the bar could go that way. We owe them money.
People claim refunds on their donations. Yeah.
But yeah, we do have we got some stuff to talk about today, so let's jump in. This first, before we talk about the movies we've been watching, I do want to touch on this the Batman Part 2 casting news because this movie's real.
No, filming, aren't they? They've like taken photos of like behind the monitor.
Yeah, I think they're on a set. They showed there might be snow. The movie might have some sort of snow.
We cannot believe that this movie is real yet.
But it seems like Matthew Reeves' The Batman Part 2 is officially filming. All the leads of the first one, Robert Pattinson, all of them are coming back for the sequel. No Zoe Kravitz as far as it's currently been confirmed, so maybe no Catwoman. However, some big names added to the list. Sebastian Stan, the Winter Soldier himself, Scarlett Johansson, Charles Dance, who you know from Game of Thrones, and Brian Tyree Henry from The Eternals. Listen, one of our favorite Eternals, who may or may not have caused Hiroshima. I can't remember exactly.
Very bad about it. Like there's a sequence of him crying in the ruins of Hiroshima in a very sensitive superhero movie that is definitely the forum for a scene like that. When people were like, Oppenheimer should have shown the consequences of the dropping of the nuclear bomb, what they were thinking about was Fastos. His name is Fastos, crying.
What if you would have cut from that scene of like Oppenheimer having like the panic attack, like while everyone's taking the pictures of him, just to Fastos like being sad about Hiroshima? With this cast, it seems like some of the rumors are that this movie's gonna have a heavy Dent family lean to it. That Sebastian Stan is gonna be playing Harvey Dent, aka Two-Face, and that some of these other people might be playing extended members of the Dent family, which I've never read a comic that had Dent family in it. So Darren, what's going on with this Dent family?
Again, just assuming we're in like free spoiler zone or whatever. The general assumption is that Charles Dance is playing the Harvey Dent Sr. Because the rumor was that they were looking for an A-lister to play that role, and like there were various names they wanted Brad Pitt to play it at one point. Daniel Craig was
Brad Pitt, Viggo Mortensen,
okay.
Part of me is just like Ed Harris. Like if that's what you're going for and you want that level of like prestige and you want that level of like sternness, if that's what you're gravitating towards, Ed Harris feels like a guy who is due to be kind of like, you know, how to get away with how to make a killing, kind of brought back into the mainstream. But Charles Dance does seem like a good substitute. In terms of like the portrayal of the Dent family, if you're drawing from the comics, the obvious thing is that like Dent's father was abusive, and that is a big thing in terms of like Two-Face, because the whole thing that happens with superhero comics is you have the supervillain origin, which is like Harvey Dent gets a bunch of acid thrown in his face and becomes Two-Face. But as time moves on and as other writers take approaches, people go, you know what? If I had acid thrown in my face, I don't know that I personally would become a villain obsessed with the number 2 and a coin flip. I feel like maybe there was some stuff going on with Harvey before that happened. And so you have like the building out of like Harvey having a traumatic abusive childhood, being victimized by his father. And so that is kind of like why that role might be meaty. There are other reasons why it might be meaty that we'll get to in a second. The interesting thing about like the Johansson stuff is Johansson, I've You mentioned the Dent family. That would imply that she's playing his wife, who is a major player in The Long Halloween, which is the comic book, which is seemingly the text for Batman adaptations by default. But it was obviously a huge touchstone for The Dark Knight, and it was a huge touchstone for Matt Reeves' The Batman. It is like a 12-issue maxi series written by Jeff Loeb, art by Tim Sale. Very interesting comic. I like it a lot. It's a beautiful comic to look at. It is also, like a lot of Jeff Loeb work, something that you want to look at the art. You don't want to look too hard at the story, because very famously, very famously among like comic book circles, the resolution of the mystery in The Long Halloween, which is a mystery comic book in which a mysterious figure known as Holiday starts shooting people around Gotham, that mystery, the solution that is presented in the text, Agatha Christie style, we got it solved, here's who Holiday is, does not make any sense whatsoever. And there is a glaring kind of plot hole, and there is an implication that Gilda Dent, Harvey's wife, may have been involved in some of the killings or may not have been involved in some of the killings, and it's ripe for an interpretation. If she is that character, if she is the wife, there is that sort of interpretation. The interesting thing is the rumor that I have heard about the casting of Johansson is that they're casting her as Andre Beauchamp, who is the Phantasm from the animated series, who is
that's
the
cool.
love of Bruce's life, or an early love of Bruce's life, which would explain why Catwoman is not in the movie, in that if you already have a love interest for... Sorry.
That character was created for Mask of the Phantasm, right? That wasn't a
Yes.
character that was pulled from like the comics or anything.
No, she has been backported in by like Tom King for his Batman/Catwoman miniseries.
Gotcha.
But yeah, she was created like Harley Quinn, like Lockup, like various other characters who exist in multimedia and are kind of Batgirl famously created for the live action series and backported into the comics. But like the idea there is that she will be the Phantasm.
Darren, it's so weird that all of these women weren't created for the comic books. Does that say something about comic books? Probably not.
Got a bunch
Probably
of guys
not.
sitting down to create comic books. We're like, you know what? What if, and hear us out here, we create a new character. It's like, yeah, okay, tell me about this character. Okay, he's going to be a man. It's like, okay, we're with you so far. It's going to be white. It's like, we're with you so far. And it's like, that's what I got. That's what I got.
All we got. Well, it's worked so far.
and this is like 1985, right? We've been doing this for 50 years at this point. The other crazy theory is that it's going to be Court of Owls, which is a book that Pattinson has referenced on the circuit several times, written by Scott Snyder. And the argument is that would be why you would cast somebody of Dance's caliber, and why you'd be looking for somebody of Pitt's caliber to play the role of like Bad Daddy Dent, is because you want to build to the reveal of, oh my God, who is the evil mastermind behind the Court of Owls? And he whips off the mask, and you're like, I recognize that actor. He's famous. I
Usually a bad dad.
Yeah, I narrowed down. Yes.
All right.
But yeah, that is what it seems to be.
Cool. I get behind this. Yeah, the other, they've shown that it seems to take place during winter. It shows like a snowy Gotham, which is, I'm excited to see what that Gotham looks like under snow.
It would be a killer move to bring back Arnold Schwarzenegger's Mr. Freeze. That would be the ultimate like power flex from Matt Reeves.
Yeah. But have it be good.
What if he's actually like the Heart of Ice tragic character? Mr. Freeze, by the way, is another character who is technically backported. He was created as Mr. Zero for the comics, and Batman 66 comes up with like Mr. Freeze, and they're like, comics like, we'll take that one. And the whole tragic backstory about his wife is an entire invention of the animated series, where they're like, what if, and hear us out here, the stupid icicle man had the most heartbreaking backstory you could imagine.
I like the stupid icicle man.
I mean, that's what he is.
He's a dumb icicle man.
What I'm really looking forward to is a rewatch of the Batman, which I have not seen since theaters. But I remember coming out of it relatively positively. Obviously, like there is a little, I remember also coming out of it, thinking that, man, he sucked as a detective and as a Batman in general, but I understand that was the point of it. I understand that was
before the comments.
He's a level 1 bat and a level 2 detective. Now he's gonna be like level 10, and he's gonna blow your mind, Jeff.
I understand that was the point of it, but I'm looking forward to rewatching.
You have added carpet lifter to utility belt.
Wait a minute. What is this job that requires a blue collar?
I like the idea that like all the cops who keep being like weirded out when he shows up to a crime scene are also like, yeah, not only is he wearing a costume, but he's not good at this. He's not. I don't know why we're letting him do this. He's not good.
You're just lucky half the police force got murdered. Yeah, it's like.
Yeah, I think the movie holds up really well in a rewatch, personally. Yeah, I also hadn't seen it. I saw it in theaters, and I didn't see it for like 2 years or so. But luckily, it's been 4 years. It'll be 4 years since Jesus. Time. How does that work?
Time.
Stunningly well-made movie is the thing about it, just in terms of like sheer craft involved, where like the sequence where the Batmobile roars to life and the cinema shakes in awe.
Yeah.
I remember that.
There's also something with
viscerally.
I know we complained about TV shows like Severance and seemingly Pluribus that are going to take like 4 years in between seasons or something, and how like this is not enough time. This is too long of time. There's something nice about like it's almost weird to me that they're already promoting the second Superman movie, because I'm like, that seems like really soon. Like we just had Superman, Supergirl's about to come out, and y'all are already showing us like BTS stuff of the second Superman movie, and
there may be a reason for that, to be fair.
Let's get it all done before the new bosses come in and clean house.
Comes in,
Sure, yeah. But one thing nice about this is like I do like kind of miss this version of Batman, and so like it'll be nice to see it.
Yeah, it's anticipation. It's like a proper like it's an old-fashioned sequel where like the Godfather came out 2 years after, but generally speaking, like 3 to 4 years between films is not uncommon.
Yeah. Lord of the Rings,
and it's not like the Batman is a short movie. Like it's not as if like you're like, well, I only got 2 hours of Batman. I'm jonesing for more.
If anything, it probably could have been a little could have trimmed that one a little bit. Cool. Let's go over some super chats before we jump into Obsession. Quintuple, thank you so much for the $5 dono. What should I watch first? Mannequin, Cutting Edge, The Prestige, or Alien Nation? I think it would be hazardous to choose anything but The Prestige right here.
Whoa!
However, Jack has some thoughts, though.
Jack, do you have any thoughts?
Listen. One, it depends on what kind of mood you're in. But Alien Nation, that's a whole TV series. Like you can't like that gets removed from the table.
Wait, I don't know what Alien Nation or Cutting Edge are.
Okay,
Alien, the big Canadian one, isn't it? Like is it shot in Vancouver? It's a big Vancouver
Alien
show?
Nation was like a cop procedural with the premise that aliens landed on Earth, and in order to integrate them with society, one of them became a cop and worked with seemingly Mick Jagger, according to that photo right there.
Gary Graham, isn't it? Like Gary Graham.
Why is his head so big? Oh, he's an alien.
Because he's an alien. It was a shortly lived television show that I used recently in an Ember ad. because Ember, brought to you by Foundry VTT, gives you approximately 2 years worth of content, and I said that's more than twice as long as the TV show Alien Nation. Cutting Edge was the movie in which a grumpy male hockey player gets teamed up with a grumpy female figure skater so that they can go to a figure skating competition as doubles partners. It's awesome. It's like a classic old rom-com with hockey and bullshit.
Okay, I feel like you did mention this one recently.
We did. We talked about this. This was a to-be recommendation, wasn't it?
Gotcha.
I think that might have been a to-be recommendation.
That was the good Bunch of Crunch movie, wasn't it?
Oh,
that's Bunch of Crunch recommendation. You are absolutely correct.
Yeah, it was not Nuncha Crunch. So which of these four would you recommend?
Listen, Mannequin is the easiest of the watches. Mannequin is a shockingly fantastic rom-com, way ahead of its time, incredibly progressive rom-com, by the way. Lovely cast, delightful, wrap it up in 90 minutes. You cannot go wrong with Mannequin.
And it makes a worthy companion piece to The Prestige, which is another movie about the commodification of the human body and the transformation of people into physical objects. I mean, they just work so well together. It's like peanut butter and jelly.
Double feature. That's all I'm saying.
What is the Mannequin if not the transporting woman? Also, honestly, Mannequin and Obsession,
and they're all
could be a
combined
double
about
feature.
half the length of
Yes.
an Alienation.
Mannequin and Obsession could be a very, very interesting double feature. I heads up, I would recommend Mannequin second. You're gonna need a breather.
An upper.
You're gonna need a breather.
JG, thank you so much for 20 Canadian dollars. I watched Big Trouble in Little China in theaters yesterday, seeing it for the first time, and weirdly felt like the best video game adaptation for a game that never existed. Truckers Against Darkness is the new RPG idea. Great way to put it. There are certain movies that just feel, I keep feeling that way while continuing to watch One Piece, where I'm like, oh my God, this feels so much like a video game. Like, we've got to the new area, we're doing our side quests, we got a new party member, now we got to level up to fight this guy.
No other movie embodies like the side-scrolling beat 'em up quite like Big Trouble in Little China.
Yeah,
absolutely.
Like, you could picture him like kicking over a trash can and finding like a big turkey leg and being like, I'll eat this to get healthy again. Yeah.
Like there are even some like straight up like I've seen like comparisons in the fight scenes to kind of D&D skill checks. If you remember at the end, Jack Burton shoots in the air in order to intimidate, rolls a natural 1, and some plaster falls on his head and gets knocked out.
That is a good point. Yeah, I love that.
The thing about like Big Trouble is that like it is a movie that feels so far ahead of its time, because it is a kind of, it is a deconstruction of a white savior movie at a time when you expect it to just be a white savior movie, where you explain the concept of Big Trouble in Little China, which is Kurt Russell is a trucker who rolls into Chinatown and he has to deal with an immortal resurrected like Chinese deity, and you're like, oh, so it's like a white man comes to town and saves the day. And you watch the movie, and the movie is like such a brilliant, like, don't know if you could describe it as a deconstruction, because that maybe implies an intent that isn't there, but it is such an interesting examination of that, where it is like you are on Jack Burton the whole time. He is absolutely the protagonist, but the central premise of the movie is that he has no idea the movie that he's in or what he's doing or how to do it, but he has the confidence of a guy who assumes that he should be able to be the lead of this movie. It is an incredible, I love, like, again, Carpenter.
Incredible
I'm a Carpenter guy so much. I love that.
Incredible movie. Also, speaking of Mannequin, with the incomparable Kim Cattrall.
That's right. That's right. There you go. There's a little double feature.
She
so cool that you got to see.
Right after.
So cool that they got to see the movie for the first time in theaters. Like, I love that. I love that there's this resurgence of revival screenings, and people, either young people get to see something for the first time in theaters, or people who've never seen anything or never seen something in theaters get to finally experience it that way. I think that's fucking awesome.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, like they did Speed Racer recently, and those screenings were selling out, which is incredible, given like the reception that Speed Racer got in like 2008, which is like the Wachowskis are being chased out of town with pitchforks and flames. But like the reaction of like screening it now, 18 years later, and it's a one night only thing, and those screenings are, at least in Dublin, pretty much sold out. It's an absolutely incredible experience.
Yeah, it always makes me curious, like, what movie the last few years is going to have that like kind of resurgence. Like, I always feel like that D&D movie, everyone who watches it really likes it, and at some point it will be like, why did this not make $1 billion when fucking Mario
Why did we not have like 20 sequels ready to go, different cast members, different characters intertwined? No, it's insane. What it really is like demonstrable proof. It is pen on paper proof of movies that were ahead of their time. Like, your grandkids are going to love that. It's
honestly.
Right?
Yeah, spot on. Jonathan Griffin, thank you so much for the $10 dono. Darren's Comics Corner. I finished working through Morrison's Batman. Didn't love Batman Inc. like the first 2 volumes, but still very good. Now reading Tomasi's Super Sons and loving it.
Okay, let's start the 2-minute clock on this bad boy.
We can't. The next one literally starts with Eric, prepare the timer. We can't. Wait. Can I combine this with the next one so that you have one timer for 2 things?
How long is the timer?
R.I.P. Marty watching Ann Lee. Thank you so much for the dono. Eric, prepare the timer. Darren, what is your favorite comic in your collection? Also, what's your favorite local comic, as in from Ireland? Okay, so you get to answer all of those. What's going on with Batman? What's your favorite comic? And what's going on in Ireland?
Favorite comic in my collection is my collected edition of like Grant Morrison's new X-Men run, which is the first hardback comic that I bought, and the comic that made me fall in love with the idea of runs. It is like, to this day, one of my favorite X-Men comics ever written, and also the Ecstatics comic from Mike Allred and Peter Milligan that came out around the same time. Those are the two that jump to mind immediately, on top of like the usuals, like the really wonderful Absolute edition of Dave Gibbons and Alan Moore's Watchmen, which was another one of like the first comics that I owned, and also like ones that I have sentimental attachment to. Like when I was in college and I had like a very difficult time, my partner at the time went to a comic book store, which in 2008 as a woman, not an easy thing to do and not a great environment to be in, and bought me a copy of like Batman, a random issue of Batman that is like still in a cupboard here, that means a lot to me emotionally, like sentimentally. It was just a really lovely gesture.
Yeah,
okay, so that's one. Okay, second question was my favorite Irish comic. Don't actually know as much about the Irish industry as I should, unfortunately. I know we have a couple of really talented individuals who work here. Do want to shout out Jordy Belair, I believe, lives here. I think, does Liam Sharp as well, or is Liam Sharp based in the UK? Declan Shavley as well.
I don't know who that is.
Okay, but anyway, so
I like you said, is he like a Jack?
Yeah, you guys jump in here at any time. But Jordy Belair, who is like one of the best colorists working in the medium, she, I believe, is based in Ireland. Her partner Declan Shavley, who's one of the great pencilers in the industry, is also based in Ireland. So those would be two Irish examples to shout out. And obviously, like Garth Ennis, who lives up north and who bases his entire like relationship to superheroes off the fact that as a kid growing up, men who wore masks and pretended to be representatives of civic virtue in Northern Ireland were people you were inherently suspicious of, and that maybe explains why that guy went on to write The Boys. But to get to the meaty thing about like the very quickly about the Grant Morrison Batman stuff, the thing that I love about the third chapter of the run, because we talked about like it is 3 acts. The first act is Morrison taking Batman from where they find him to the death of Bruce Wayne. Second act is them doing the idea of like Batman's children, Dick Grayson, Damian Wayne rising up, and the idea of modernizing Batman, creating a version of Batman that speaks to the modern world and is reflective of the world that we live in today as opposed to the world of the 1930s. And the third act, which I really like, I think it's a kind of a really incredible comic, is Morrison navigating their realization that the medium that they love and the industry that they love and the nostalgia that they love, which is they love comic books so much and they are deeply rooted in nostalgia. They have a lot of affection for the Silver Age. And like one of the things with Morrison as a creator is they are one of the great comic book writers, but they will never be as historically significant as somebody like Alan Moore, because Alan Moore to a certain extent kind of grew past superheroes or grew past nostalgia, and Moore kind of went off and defined his own work and kind of crafted an identity for himself outside of the industry in a way that Morrison can't and doesn't want to, because they're so in love with that medium and that industry. And for the better part of 2 decades, that industry loved them back. They were the center of attention. They got to do things like write Final Crisis. They got to write Batman. They got to write All-Star Superman. They got to write these really wonderful, really moving works in the industry. And then around about 2011, the larger industry undergoes a massive reboot. They are kind of shunted round a bit. They realize that they're never going to be top dog again. They realize that like times change, flavors shift, and the people who run this company are business people, and they don't really care about the artistry of what you've done. All the work that you've done will just be brushed aside and forgotten, because that is how capitalism works. And so Morrison writes these 2 runs, which are 2 of my favorite Morrison works. Third one being The Green Lantern, which comes out a couple of years later. First one is their Action Comics run starring Superman, which is like their retelling of the origin of Superman, in which they basically argue that Superman is an incredible concept and a beautiful idea, but is stained from its very beginning by the crime of stealing Superman from his creators, Siegel and Shuster. The original act of like ripping off the 2 people who came up with the idea of Superman taints the character in a way that Morrison suddenly has a great deal of difficulty dealing with, perhaps because they have experienced a similar thing. And Batman Inc. Is the third act of their Batman saga, and it is about the idea that like Bruce Wayne will never get to be happy. Bruce Wayne will never get to grow up. I see the timer, Eric. Bruce Wayne will never get a happy ending, never get to be fulfilled. He will always circle back around to being the character that Morrison inherited. No matter how far Morrison pushes him, no matter how far he evolves him, no matter how much he changes him, Batman will always be reset back to factory settings so another writer can come in and put their own mark on him. And Morrison's entire run on like Batman Inc. is them grappling with the grim reality of that fact. And it's incredible because Batman and Robin will never die as a triumphant salute at the start of their run, Batman and Robin Will Never Die becomes incredibly sad and mournful at the end. And I'm done!
Oh,
And I'm done.
I do
beautiful.
like Eric saying that that segment is called Time is Mooney. Time is Mooney. That was beautiful. Also fascinating. I love that idea of they can never die being one thing at the start and they can never die being another thing at the end. I think it's beautiful.
And it's so every time I read it, I kind of like I well up because it's like Morrison just going, "This thing that I love will never love me back," which is one of the most profound things.
Sure.
No, but it is like it is one of those things you feel in art, where and it's very similar to the Wachowskis. We mentioned Speed Racer; it's a very similar energy to Speed, which is like we make all this art in this corporate system. Like the Matrix Resurrections is about the same thing. It's like we make this thing in this system, and it means so much of us, and we put so much of ourselves in it. And at the end, what happens? A bunch of people in suits come take it away, and it's like it never existed, and it's taken from us, and it becomes divorced from us, and it's really sad. This is me going over my time. I apologize, but I love that run so much for that reason. That ending is really
apologize for that.
Makes me cry a little bit.
Beautiful.
Never apologize for that. King Commoner with a $5 dono. 5 minutes back on the clock. No, do not. Duella Dent casting when? Give us the Joker's daughter. What's going on with Duella Dent?
This is the thing where very quickly when Harley Quinn, we are all. I love that Jack's like, let me just take a big sip. We could go for this, but obviously Harley Quinn is a big success. Everybody knows Harley Quinn. Harley Quinn is the Joker's girlfriend, and she's an incredible concept. And everyone's like, why did it take like people so long to crack this? To Jack's point of, what if there was a woman in comic books? Question mark. But like, why did it take people so long to figure out that giving the Joker a sidekick was a good idea? The problem is that Harley Quinn is massively successful and becomes a brand unto herself, and very quickly like outgrows not only the Joker but Batman, where you have like Harley Quinn solo comics, Harley Quinn solo TV show, Harley Quinn solo movie. But the problem is that you're like, oh, but now the Joker doesn't really have like a female companion who can do cool Jokery stuff. And so there has been in the past 10 to 15 years this real big push towards, can we create another Harley Quinn-esque character? Like a female character who has a relationship to the Joker and who could fill that particular niche. Julia Dent is one of those examples. I believe she's a product of the New 52. Yeah, Eric hit me right on the head there. That is Punchline, who is the most recent example of it there. Is like a, can we create a female character who can be a sidekick to the Joker and will have the legs of Harley Quinn, but we don't need to divorce her from the Joker because she doesn't become more popular than the Joker. So that is kind of Julia Dent's thing. Is that, yes, she is the Joker's daughter. She's used very well in Ram V's recent Detective Comics one, actually, to give a shout out.
How come we don't give Killer Croc female sidekick? What's going on here? Killer Croquettes.
The penguin, the
Croquettes.
The Croquettes.
Incredible. And then one last one, and then we'll jump over to Obsession. R.I.P. Marty watching Ann Lee. Thank you so much for the donut. Maybe too interesting for Warner to actually try, but to do with a fun twist. The acid throw to Harvey is expired, so he becomes the Two-Face Joker. Does acid expire? Like, does acid like go?
Acid goes off.
Does it have a sell-by date?
I
don't fuck with acid, so I don't know.
Being the gangster has to explain like Sal Maroni. It's like, you know what?
I got a deal on
it. This is why you always test the acid.
Yeah, never buy secondhand acid. Only buy acid when you pop the top yourself. That's the secret. Cool. Let's jump on over to Obsession. This is a movie all three of us saw recently. This is a new horror movie, which, like we mentioned at the top, has as of yesterday is the number one movie at the box office in the U.S. An extremely low budget horror movie, written and directed by a young filmmaker named Curry Barker, who also got their start on YouTube, which is a recurring motif with a lot of these horror movies this year and continuing. Jack, you saw it most recently. You said you saw it last night and it left a lasting impression on you. So what did you think of Obsession?
Oh my God, that's Curry Barker?
Yeah. Do you know who he is?
I have seen this person's YouTube videos. Oh my God. Son of a bitch.
Yeah. He just made this movie. Got a little bit of money and just was like, I'll make this movie.
That's when he already made a second movie already was the big announcement. Like a really great, like pulling out the cord of like,
like Aaron Paul's. It's like a bigger cast too. It's like Aaron Paul's, and it's about ghost hunters, fake ghost hunters who accidentally stumble upon a real ghost haunting that they need to like fuck with.
But Barker is in it, and his friend is in it, who plays Ian in this movie, because they're two, like, they work together on the YouTube shorts.
And I thought that, and I went in knowing very little, only seeing the trailer, and I thought that the friend Ian, I was like, oh, good for that guy. Apparently he got a role finally, Okay, by the way, for any of you who have seen Obsession and knows how truly horrifying it is, like, it is. I am not exaggerating when I say I did not sleep well last night because of this movie, and I woke up this morning nauseous thinking about it. Yeah. All of this is a positive in my book. This is an absolute glowing recommendation to see this movie, and then look up who Curry Barker is, and you'll go, that guy from the YouTube shorts that I watch sometimes?
I want to know, I came so quickly for you. I came right here. As soon as I heard, I just came. Yeah.
First of all, honestly, good for YouTube kids. They're doing it. Yeah. They're doing it. This is truly. I can only imagine that watching this movie and feeling the way I do now is exactly the same as like people who were religious felt watching The Exorcist. Mm-hmm. It is deeply, deeply horrifying. It is slow and methodical, and it chooses its jump scares very carefully. It chooses its lighting incredibly carefully. This is all spoiler free to say that if you have not seen this movie and you like horror movies, literally stop listening to this podcast and go see the earliest screening. It is absolutely, it scared me. I don't get scared at movies, and this movie legitimately scared me. I don't know what else to. I can't, like, I obviously, like, once we get into kind of spoiler talk, we can get into some of the specifics as to why its horror was so visceral and so affecting. But listen, my cat and my dog are here, and I was upset that they were not sleeping with me last night because I needed comfort. It is so rare that a movie is able to do that to me. Yeah.
Before tossing over there, so I guess really quick, just the premise of this movie is that it's set, like, because I do also think it is best to go in as blind as possible. Yeah. The core premise, though, which is in all the trailers and the marketing is everything, is it's almost like an episode of like Tales from the Crypt or something like that, where it's about a group of like these young 20-somethings who work at a music shop, and they're all tight. They go all drinking after work and everything. The main character has a
trivia night is sacred.
Trivia night is, listen, I'm the last one to besmirch trivia night. That's how I made my millions. But the main guy obviously has a crush on one of the girls of the group, but doesn't think it's reciprocated, doesn't really know how to actually tell her how he feels. Stumbles upon a kind of a new age tchotchke shop that has this what looks like an old like 50s toy you'd get at like a soda shop, and it's pretty much its whole thing is you make a wish and snap it in half and the wish will come true. And his wish is, I wish that she loved me more than anyone else on earth. And that happens about 20 minutes into the movie, and the rest of it is a downward spiral into literal hell.
Yes.
Darren, what did you think of Obsession?
Thought it was very good. Had a really good time. I think it's an incredibly well-made movie. Like, without getting into spoilers, just in terms of the mechanics of how it is constructed and how it builds its scares and how it unsettles you, is like just a remarkable piece of work where it is not overly reliant on jump scares. There are moments where it uses score like anything else. There's moments where it uses like edits and cuts, and there's moments where things happen very suddenly and much quicker than you expect them to in order to get a rise out of you. But it is surprisingly effective at building menace, tension, and unease through like stillness and through lighting and through communication and through like shadow and through the way that shots are framed and constructed. It is a remarkable work of, to get back to the discussion we had earlier, remarkable work of craft in terms of storytelling. And I think like it is having the effect that it is, because it does really seem like this movie has kind of struck a chord. And I do think some of that is thematic in that, like, what the movie is about, in that like it is touching on something that is very resonant today for reasons, if you've given the summary, people could probably guess why that resonates today. But also because a lot of horror movies in particular that are aimed at young people don't generally work like that, where, I don't want to compare this to something like Hereditary or something like Midsommar, but it is a very, it is it is very artful in its construction in a way that something like, goodness forbid, like Five Nights at Freddy is not, for example. It is very carefully considered in how it uneases the audience, how it makes them uncomfortable. And I will say again, I had the pleasure of seeing this in a crowded cinema surrounded by people, and that experience when you're watching a movie and it is playing the audience like an orchestra, where you can feel everybody clench up at a particular shot, or you can hear a gasp in reaction to something moving in the background of a shot. And I saw it with somebody who remarked to me, like, coming out, that they just needed to take a shower immediately, which is exactly what you want from a movie like this. And like, it is, to your point, you mentioned like feeling unsettled about it and waking up thinking about it. It is a movie I have thought about almost incessantly, which is again quite remarkable for a movie that costs something like 750 grand to make.
For a movie, like Marty said, this is a Tales from the Crypt episode. This is like a Twilight Zone episode premise. This is the Blumhouse special, which, you know, I like to think of the Blumhouse special as The Girl in the Field, or what was that movie called? The Woman in the Field.
The Woman in the Yard. The
Woman in the Yard.
What's that girl doing in that field?
No, that was the sequel, the acclaimed sequel, The Dark Knight of like woman sitting in
the woman in the yard, and the trailer is, "Mom, there's a woman in the yard," and the mom goes, "Oh no!" Like, that's the Blumhouse special. Is like, we got a simple Tales from the Crypt premise. I don't know, some spooky shit'll happen.
The camera's gonna move very slowly in the trailer, and we're gonna play a theremin or something.
Right. And so
black. Yeah.
I walked into this like knowing that only 1 out of every 10 Blumhouse movies really hits hard, and not knowing which side the coin would land on, and being absolutely thrilled by every moment of this movie. Mostly because it does such a phenomenal job of continually flipping the script on who the villain is, on who the victim is, and how the villains and victims feel about themselves as villains and victims, to make it kind of okay, like to make like all of the horror okay in some respects. It is
until it's not. Like it is very good at like providing like rationales and justifications. Like it's very good at like doing that, where you can go with certain things to a point where intellectually you know what's happening is horrible, but the movie is very good at giving you enough justification that you are still with it for 10 more minutes, and then it underscores how horrible the thing you are with it is. It's very
beautiful.
And it the lead who Inda Navarrete, a fucking
incredible
banger performance. Like, she is incredible. In that opening 20 minutes, it immediately is like, oh, this is one of those like kind of like a manic pixie dream girl, but it's like, you know, just like she's kind of like the life of the trivia team. You see her in the background. They show her like giving money to a homeless guy outside. So she's like, they do a great job of just immediately setting her up as like, okay, I get it why this guy is into her. And then what she does when the possession happens, when the wish is granted, and the facial acting, the mannerisms, how she on a dime, like little hints of her actual personality come back through for a second, and her being able to like move the lever from 10 to 0 back and forth is phenomenal. Like, it is genuinely incredible acting, which you know, for someone I had never seen before, like, just blew me away.
Yeah,
I think she was a regular on Superman and Lois, and it was like that is
right?
that is about it. I think. Incredible performance.
Yeah,
incredible.
Yeah, it does. I mean, it does feel like one of those things that's kind of hard to talk about without going into the specifics. So I guess we'll kind of cut it off and do a spoiler talk here. So I guess just really quick, if you're interested in this movie, don't want to be spoiled, Eric will throw off the spoiler warning right now. Highly recommend seeing this movie in theaters. I think we all had good times, like good crowds. Jack, you were saying like you had a really fun crowd, right?
Really fun crowd. I had a very young crowd. I went to like the theater that's closest to the college, and so I'm sure it was a bunch of college kids. It was a bunch of young kids watching this movie about an awkward dude who I just can't muster up the nerve to ask the cute girl out, and it turns into what the movie turns into, and it made me giggle.
So spoiler country now. It is amazing how quickly the movie turns into you being like, oh, how's he going to get out of this one, to, oh, this guy's a monster.
Fuck that guy. Yes.
This guy is an absolute monster who is offered an off-ramp a few times from this thing, which would involve taking his own life, but it would be an off-ramp and no one else would be harmed.
I've seen Flatliners. I'm familiar with how this sort of thing works.
He's offered. He's even okay. So for people who do not care about spoilers, he casts the wish, which essentially kind of possesses the girl's body.
Yes.
Immediately what that turns into is the girl wants to be around him and wants to be near him, but we get little hints that the real girl is trying to fight back from the possession. In one of kind of the earliest tension builder, even just saying this, my body's convulsing. Okay, all right, real quick, I'm sorry. The movie made the girl held up a flower bouquet in front of her face, and that was the scariest fucking thing in the world.
Yeah,
just need to say that.
But again, the thing of it is, like, even before she's possessed, like, she has she gives him the offer of, like, do you like me? Like,
yeah,
she
literally
out,
comes
like,
to the car. The last thing
before he does the let me erase her personality and replace her with a chatbot is basically like, do you like me? And
we can talk about this and figure it out one way or another.
Well, we can be mature adults about this and actually like navigate this as people who see each other as human beings to get to like one of the core points of what the movie is maybe about. And he's like, nope, not doing that.
Nope, wish. And then he, like, you can still see him kind of internally trying to rationalize it. Like, did my wish come true? Is she really in there? Do I care?
It's not really my fault. Yeah.
Right.
Again, the rationalize the self-justification. Oh, she's bipolar. She took Molly. She told me that her dad, even though I know she doesn't have a relationship with her dad, she told me that her dad's dying. So obviously she's messed up. This is not my fault. I should just enjoy this. And really, it would be unfair for me not to like accept her, given how the state that again, the self-rationalizing and justifications of somebody who cannot see beyond themselves and who has like a complete lack of empathy for other human beings, where like there is this recurring thing where like there's a Sarah, who's the other girl in the friend group, clearly likes Bear, but Bear has no interest in her as a human being at all, which is quite remarkable.
Because he doesn't have interest in anyone as a human being. Like, he sees and I'm bad with names, so I've forgotten the main girl's name. I'm just going to call her Girl, which is terrible.
Nikki
and Bear.
He only sees Nikki as essentially, like a doll, as a fuck puppet, as like just as a husk of a woman. He has the glorious thing about the movie is that allegory of like, he never saw her as a person to begin with.
And again, the idea that it's a thin line between like how men are socialized, think about women in general, where the opening conversation that he has with his mate, who turns out is like having a friends with benefits relationship with Nikki, but doesn't bring it up, and is kind of like quietly undermining Bear, but not addressing the emotional stuff in the room. And there's the implication that maybe even Ian hasn't been treating Nikki particularly well either, and that Nikki like really just wants somebody who sees her as a person and as a friend, and that is what she likes about Bear, is that Bear is not like Ian and not trying to take advantage of her sexually, but oh my god, he is. But there is this kind of like idea of like men who do not see women as having inherent personhood, which, not to put too fine a point on it, like the fact that the first thing that Ian suggests to Bear is, how about you neg her? That's the thing that you need to neg her. That is, and it's like, oh, this is what the horror movie is kind of getting at, which is the idea that Bear doesn't actually like Nikki. He doesn't care about Nikki. He doesn't know Nikki, really. What he wants is a girlfriend, and Nikki just happens to be an object that exists in his imagination that fills that particular void or hole that he would like to be associated with. Again, we talk about like how the film is made, just remarkable like cinematic language, where like Barker, again, Barker's how old? Like 20 something? But the fact that the movie goes out of its way to like conceal the faces of the female characters for so much of the movie, where Nikki is often photographed like with silhouette covering her face. There are some really striking shots of her face in shadow, but her eyes kind of reflecting light as well. And the fact that she's often like blurred out in the background out of focus, such as when Bear and Ian are talking about her and she's in the background of the shot, or Bear is on the phone and she's in the background of the shot, but she's blurred out because she's not really relevant. He's not really thinking about her as a person. Even the way that she's framed in conversations with the car, where the camera stays on Bear and she's outside the car, so you can see her from the neck down, so you don't see her face. And like very slight spoilers for like the climax of the movie, but like the end fate of Sarah, the character of Sarah, who is a woman whose face is quite literally removed at the climax of the film. And the last time that you see Sarah, you see the naked body of a woman without the face, which is like the most literal representation of like what Bear wants and what Bear, whether he will admit it, and sure, he'll rationalize to himself that he's a nice guy, he's a lovely guy, that he really cares for her, but that is ultimately kind of what he wants. He wants the body. He doesn't want the person. He doesn't see the person. He doesn't acknowledge the person. Like there's the moment where obviously at a certain point you are like, fuck this guy anyway. But like the point where you really go, I want him to die a painful death. And the fact the movie understands how much you want him to die a painful death is the moment when he's like sneaking out to meet Sarah before things really escalate. And like Nikki is able to break through because whatever it is that is occupying her body is sleeping. And she's like, kill me, kill me.
Yeah.
And Bear's immediate response to that is to not to go, I'm sorry, I didn't understand, I will fix this, I will do whatever it takes. It's like to turn it back to wait. Can we talk about me for a second? Would it really be so bad for you to be in a relationship with me?
I know you might literally be in hell right now. Like it sounds like you were in actual hell, but think about it from my point of view.
Well, and to me that was the magic trick that the movie played, because I think Bear starts off as a relatively like sympathetic character. He's a shy guy he's a little nervous around girls, and like he's a nice guy, quote unquote. But the literal moment that he gets any sort of power over a woman, the movie very slowly and very methodically makes us want to torture him. And we get that, which is really, which is like we do. It is a little bit of we get our cake and eat it too. We get to look at our cake and eat it too, which is really brilliant. As this main sympathetic character is also a bit of the torture. Part of the bad part of that is the torturing and killing of the women also. But Bear does get plenty of torture, which is very, very nice.
I also like how the movie doesn't get bogged down in lore. It's very, I like that we don't know where this came from. And the few times it digs into it are for really funny kind of point, like when he goes back to the store to ask to be like, it's defective. And I like how fucking lackadaisical, like the employees are just like, they're just like burnouts who are like, what the fuck do you want? Yeah, it's a thing that gives you wishes, whatever. Did you make the wrong wish? Like, I like how like nonplussed they are. And even like the phone line he calls, like the helpline.
But the thing that's so great about that is that it makes it very clear that like while the standard logic of a story like this is, oh, be careful what you wish for, the willow wish is cursed, etc. The fact that everybody except Bear who uses it, and this includes Ian, whose wish is quite literally, I want $1 billion. Everybody who uses the wish seems to end up happy, where he like goes to the store clerk, he's like, can you make a wish for me? The store clerk, no, I already used mine. And the store clerk is clearly like happy with the wish that he got. Like, I like how clear the movie is that it is Bear that is the problem here, which is really, rather than avoiding the, oh, it's obviously cursed, or there was a right way to make the wish that erased Nikki's personality. It's like, no, it is Bear. Bear is the problem, which he's unbearable.
Well, and you know, like I don't know if this was done on purpose, but you know, like was he named Bear because of that whole "who would you rather meet in a forest, a man or a bear" conversation?
I didn't think about that.
Yeah, it's fairy tale logic as well, because obviously she tells the story of Hansel and Gretel and stuff like that, and the willow wish is like an old piece of folklore as well. Like And one of the things I really do like about the movie is it feels like a modernization of something that is like classic, something that's very traditional, where it is an attempt to make a modern fairy tale, just a fairy tale for the age of, you know, the manosphere and like chatbot girlfriends and AI. Like, I love that he uses like AI to like, is my girlfriend on Molly? He asks AI at one point. You're like, oh, I think I see what the movie is doing here. Sorry. Yeah.
You wrote about that in your column on it. You talked about sort of the AI, and even like when she gets confused over certain things, when she talks about how her cat died, and it's like, no, my cat died. Yeah.
Like, oh yes,
like,
your cat died. Yes.
Yeah, when in Darren's, I didn't get this on my viewing, but when Darren wrote about it, he's like, it's like AI. It's like trying to like get an answer you want out of AI, and like you describing the movie that way, I'm like, oh, that's kind of spot on, because he does. He goes to Chat GPT to be like, how do I fix this? Which that kind of seems like, I'm sure Trump's gone to Chat GPT and be like, how do I fix this whole Iran situation?
He goes on, he's on like Reddit and like does the one wish below. Like, it is a movie that is like, without being, again, it reminds me of something like Materialists or something like a very strange comparison to make with past lives, but movies that I think of as being like about growing up in a mediated internet world that are not like, gee, look at the phone screen. Like, I love Eddington, but not every movie about living in the internet world needs to be Eddington. I think that this movie is kind of about, like, it is engaged with that. And I'm like, obviously a lot of stuff it's doing is more broad and general, and that men have had these weird attitudes towards women for millennia. That is not a new concept. Anyone who has read the Bible will get a similar sort of sensibility to it, but it is like, I think it is very conversant in the modern expression of those ideas, if that makes sense.
Yeah,
absolutely.
Yeah, great movie. And Curry Barker also apparently directing a Texas Chainsaw Massacre reboot.
He is, yes.
Yeah, there's two parallel Texas Chainsaw Massacre things, and one is a TV show that Glenn Powell may or may not be doing something in, and one is a movie that Curry Barker is apparently writing and directing.
I love that Powell, again, I kind of respect Powell being like refusing to course correct, where it's like, America just wants you to be the sweet, handsome, dopey guy, and he's like, no, I'm gonna be the fucking like plastic face quarterback guy, and I'm gonna make a Texas Chainsaw TV show.
Yeah.
Can we just take a moment and really appreciate, like, they don't so the jump scares in the movie. There are jump scares, as there are in most horror movies, because they are an effective form of scaring you. But it also spends most of the movie very slowly and very carefully building an immense amount of tension. So all of those jump scares are massively affecting and very fewly used is how I was going to phrase that, but used very sparingly is I'm not sure if they were film effects or if it was just the actress, her movements when she decided to move backwards or even like in and out of the corner that she is hiding in while watching.
Yeah.
When she crab walks with the vase of flowers in front of her head, I might not sleep again tonight just thinking about that.
That is kind of a jump scare, but it's an incredibly like technically really proficient one, where it is a static shot of Bear looking at the back wall of his bedroom, and she is standing in the corner in silhouette in darkness, and it is up to you. No, but like you hear the audience gasp or at least my audience gasp at like separate intervals as people realize that she is there in the shot, which is like a remarkably confident thing to do in a movie, where it's just like, I'm gonna just give you the still shot and let you find her. And it's like, if they don't find her, the sequence falls flat. It's like, no, trust me. And it works so beautifully.
It works so beautifully. I hope that actress, I hope her 1,000 Oscars.
Indy Navarro, is it?
Navarrete, I think.
Navarrete, apologies.
Indy Navarrete. She in a just world, she would be in awards consideration at the end of the year for performance. Horror movies don't generally get
her and Rocky from like Project Hail Mary, because Project Hail Mary, I believe that James Ortez is technically eligible for Best Supporting Actor. I would love for them to be the two winners.
Listen, if Amy Madigan won last year, so anything can happen.
No, it's she's just phenomenal.
Yeah.
I'm terrified of women forever. Great.
Yeah. Congrats, Obsession. Job well done.
Because that's the message that Obsession
that's the message.
Take away, Jack. Yeah.
Something I think is very interesting is a lot of the marketing. This reminds me, what was that? I see this online a lot. There was a book out a while ago called like How to Get a Guy to Like You. and it was marketed towards young women, but the book was actually a self-help book, and like the full title of it was How to Get a Guy to Like You Is That If You Like Yourself First. And it's like, but it was kind of marketed towards women with low self-esteem, hoping for some tricks to get men in here. And I feel very similarly about this movie, where it is almost marketed towards men to be like, man, girls are crazy. Girlfriends sure can get clingy, right?
Yeah.
And then like it drops this subversion on them, which I think is beautiful.
Also, like a really interesting companion piece to Companion, starring friend of the show Jack Quaid.
Yeah.
Like again, that is a movie that I think is kind of where I made the connection between, is this about like AI girlfriends and chatbots and like ChatGPT and stuff like that, where it's like, because you do have this like phenomenon that is terrifying, where you read articles about like men who have left their wives for robots that cannot tell them no. Yeah.
No, it like, and you know, as a the pervasive theme of generally rape culture is insidious in this movie, and it's very reminiscent of like, you know, how our grandparents grew up, and grandma saying, well, he was my husband, I had to be with him, that was my only choice, and just going,
he followed me home.
He just threw me over his shoulder, and I guess I was his.
And I was his. I literally couldn't run away because I couldn't get a credit card in my name. You know, like it's that kind of pervasive themes in the movie that really, as a modern, relatively progressive liberal man, it's very, very unsettling. It's beautiful and beautiful movie.
Yeah, great stuff. My just the last thing I wanted to touch on is, like we mentioned, just that YouTube to director pipeline that is becoming bigger and bigger, which I am fucking all for. I think it's awesome. You know, we've had you know, a decade ago or so, we had Dan Trachtenberg come up from YouTube to do you know, 10 Cloverfield Lane, and then obviously all the Predator movies recently, the Philippou brothers who did Talk to Me and Bring Her Back, Kogonada who did After Yang, Markiplier earlier this year, Chris Stuckman earlier this year, Kane Parsons is about to do it with the Backrooms. These are all like fucking young people. This guy was this movie is directed, he was 24 when he directed this movie.
Hell yeah.
I think Kane Parsons is 20. Like, I don't think Kane Parsons can buy a beer at a bar and is directing The Backrooms with Chiwetel Ejiofor.
Yeah. Good.
And Renee Westphal, like a Best Actress nominee from this year as well. Like, and she's like, it was an incredible directing experience. I wish I had his credit. Like, man, I wish that an Oscar-winning actor would talk about me that way. Like when I was 20 years old.
Well, like this is the new, like, YouTube is the new film school. These kids, God bless their hearts, are producing movies every other week. They know how to get it done.
Yeah, same way that like making industrial videos used to be film school, and then making music videos used to be film school. Yeah. It's a really interesting, like, evolving pipeline. And I like, this is the thing, I think we mentioned it maybe 2 weeks ago as well, or maybe it came up in a different conversation. But the idea of like, I am now old, and seeing things that very clearly are designed to resonate with young people, and not being scared of it. Like, where like, but like, because I had this fear that I would be dreadfully uncool and be like, oh, YouTube, it's corrupting and ruining cinema. And instead I'm like, actually, you know what? Give Kane Parsons Star Wars and take it old fucking like Jon Favreau. Favreau, go out to pasture. Kane Parsons, but like I am more excited for like what Kane Parsons is doing, or what, like, you know, this guy's going to do, than I am excited about like what Jon Favreau is going to do next. I like. And it is something that is theirs, and kids are responding to, and kids are engaging with, and kids seem excited about. Like, the person that I saw it with was like one of my sister's friends, and she was like, yeah, this is something that is recognizable to me and speaks my language in a way that something like, goodness blessed, The Testament of Anne Lee doesn't.
Which, to be clear,
is a perfect movie. It's not a perfect movie. It's a very good movie.
Yeah.
No, I think it's the really nice like cherry on top of Obsession is the kids are going to be all right. Like they will keep this art form going, and we still get, even as old men, we still get these fucking quality movies trying new things with the genre, but still like hearkening back to the old. It's great. fucking
I was worried I was going to be like Basley Crowther writing in the New York Times in the 1970s, being like, "What is this Bonnie and Clyde shit? Like, bring back Chaplin."
Listen, we can take off the spoiler alert now, Eric.
Sorry.
I will be honest with you. I did write an angry email to my Darren.
I know.
We lost a Marty.
I got like Sebastian Stand.
To tell you exactly how much of an old man I am, I wrote an angry email to my local theater chain about my bad viewing experiences for the other movies I saw this week. Like, that's how old I am. I wrote an email to the manager.
I like, by the way, that you're like Mortal Kombat 2. It's like, what was your bad experience? You screened Mortal Kombat 2. That was your first mistake.
Oh no! Listen, my camera goes black for 5 seconds, and I come back, and y'all are besmirching the movie before I'm here to defend it. What kind of shit is that?
No.
Yeah.
I was just saying, like, I'm such an old man. I literally wrote an email to Greg Marcus of Marcus Theaters over the weekend.
Is he the guy who does the advertisements?
He is. You know Greg Marcus. We all know Greg Marcus, friend of the show.
I had two incredibly bad screenings, partly because of audiences, but partly like my screening of The Sheep Detective, which is a very good movie, had a big smudge on the screen. So like there was a giant blurry dot in the center of the screen for the entire showing. And I'm like, listen, you can't, I know you can't get the kids to turn off their phones, but you can fucking squeegee a screen.
I like that. We got the fly. It's taken care of.
Yeah, it's fine. It's fine. Before we move on to do some more super chats and the rest of the stuff we've been watching, you want to touch on Mortal Kombat? That's another movie all three of us saw in theaters. Another one of this year's many video game adaptations.
Instead of talking about I just want before we talk about Mortal Kombat, because we will talk about Mortal Kombat. I want to take exactly like 10 more seconds and bask in us remembering that the art form will be fine. The kids are going to make solid movies, and that like
people solve murders,
cohesive narrative structures still exist.
Mortal Kombat.
And in stark contrast to the phenomenal filmmaking and storytelling of some movies, let's talk about Mortal Kombat 2.
Hey, Jack.
Yes.
Please. Look, I liked Obsession as much as the next person.
Yeah.
But Obsession did not take 2 minutes at the start of its story to explain how Katana got her trademark fans. Therefore, it is logically less perfect a movie than Mortal Kombat 2.
Agreed. We need that lore.
I feel like if we had a solid 2 minutes of people explaining the Wish Willow and the lore of the Wish Willow, maybe it would have been a better movie. I'm just saying that. That's all I'm saying.
Like, how did Johnny Cage come up with the idea to do the splits and punch a guy in the nuts? We'll never know.
In a movie.
We'll never know
that. He was
unless we watch Mortal Kombat 2.
Before we let the negative Nancy step in and trounce all over this, let me just say Mortal Kombat 2 is not the best video game movie of the year. Exit 8 is clearly already better than it.
Yeah.
Hopefully Resident Evil and Street Fighter are also
We're all rooting for Street Fighter. By the way, early reviews of He-Man, and I'm like, I was right. I was team right.
Wait, what? No. What early reviews of He-Man what?
The early reviews of He-Man are like,
is He-Man good?
Yes.
Get the fuck out of here. He-Man's good?
No. That's not the big swing here. Jared Leto is good in He-Man.
I don't know how I feel about this.
I don't. That's how you know that it's like we're really hitting a home run with this one, boys.
Oh my god!
Sony
He-Man's
Pictures are like,
my birthday.
Have you guys got enough champagne right for this?
Oh my god, He-Man season approaching. Very excited for this. Yeah, Mortal Kombat not as good as Exit 8. In my opinion, not as bad as Mario. I'm just saying, if we're talking about video game movies that make you feel the way you feel when you play the video game, Exit 8 did a great job of that. Mario, bad job of that. Mortal Kombat 2, I think did a good job of making it feel like I was playing Mortal Kombat 2 on the Sega Genesis because it just had nicely framed moments of two folks punching each other in some locations I knew, like the acid pit. You know the acid pit? Y'all know about that acid pit? Nether Realms. Do you guys know about Nether Realms? That's like it's like a floating thing, and in the background's Nether.
And it's named for the studio that produced the video game, I imagine.
Or the studio's named after that. It's a chicken and the egg scenario. There's no way to know. I thought the movie was dumb, and I thought the movie was fun. I think you guys might disagree. What did Darren? What did you think of Mortal Kombat 2?
I did not care for it. Like you pulling the trump card of maybe it's better than the Super Mario Galaxy movie is a real pick your favorite strain of hepatitis and you can't pick A type question. Where it is like it is just a bad movie in ways that are just so fundamental to what it is. Where I joked about it a moment ago. The moment where we explain why Katana, a character who, despite being named for a sword, a katana, uses fans as weapons, and the movie's like, feel like we need to explain why this character in this otherworldly fight tournament populated by demons and monsters and aliens has a fan gimmick. You have her receive the fans as a gift because she's a princess and princesses should use fans. And I'm sitting there watching it going, This just raises more questions for me, right?
You've actually made it more confusing. Rather than if you would have explained nothing, I would have been fine.
Yeah, if she had just shown up using fans, I would have been entirely on board with it. But now I'm like, you gave her the fans and you explained where the fans came from, but she received the fans seemingly 8 hours before the fight tournament starts. And I'm like, when did she train using these fans? How did she decide how she was going to employ these fans in combat? It's a real drawing attention to the mechanics of the world in a way that you really don't need to, where you try to explain why Bowser wears shoes, and then you're all of a sudden like, but wait, does that mean that there are Koopa cobblers? What's up with that? How does the Koopa economy work? It starts raising these questions in your head that you can't really wrap your head around. So you're like, maybe just don't explain why Bowser wears shoes. Maybe just have Bowser wear shoes.
It's like Meat's fine. Back on the menu, boys, being like, wait a minute, y'all have restaurants?
Yeah.
Peter Jackson, you gotta explain what's going on in Orc Society.
I legitimately do not remember. Did they explain why the guy had a buzzsaw hat in the first movie?
So it's cool. No. Real cool.
Right. Well, then do that in the second movie too.
She's royalty. She's a princess.
And the problem is that so much of the movie is obsessed with lore and mechanics and stuff like that. So they're all constantly talking about, is it the amulet? I saw this movie last week and I can't even remember the details of it. But there's we have to get the amulet. We have to destroy the amulet. If they don't destroy the amulet, they'll get control. Shao Kahn will have stolen the powers of Raiden. And everybody is constantly second screen reminding you that the most important thing in the movie is to get the amulet. And I'm like, guys, it's not a complicated plot point. I don't need to constantly be reminded that there is an amulet that our character is trying to get. And all of that attention to that particular plot point and that hammering of that specific detail, which feels very lore driven, very continuity driven, is stuff that could be spent characterizing the characters, giving me a bit of definition, making me care about who these people are, where there is no character in this movie. And this is a problem for me because I like Karl Urban. I think Karl Urban is a really charming performer. I was very excited to see Karl Urban cast in the lead role in Mortal Kombat 2. And in fact, actually, I would argue casting him in Mortal Kombat 2 illustrates, much like explaining the fans illustrates the logical problems of having her fight with the fans. Casting Karl Urban in this movie illustrates the problem with casting everybody else in this movie, because you have that thing with a fight movie where you have two options. The first of which is you can cast an actor and train them how to fight, or you can cast a fighter and train them how to act. Generally speaking, I tend to think it is easier to train an actor to fight than it is to train a fighter to act, because you can use other techniques like stunt people and editing and craft to disguise the actor's inability to fight. It is very hard to convince me that a stunt person can give a good performance through the power of ADR and editing and such like that. So that when Karl Urban is fighting in this movie, I'm actually invested. The one fight sequence in this movie that I actually care about is the sequence with him fighting Baraka in the village. Because that is a fight sequence that actually has stakes and depends on character and performance. Where Cage is playing a game in that fight sequence. Cage has an objective he's trying to accomplish, and you're able to do cut to cute reaction shots of Urban being like, man, I just got thrown through a wall. Hey, I'm going to have a 2-second bit where I play with little kids in this fight sequence. I'm going to run like I'm terrified. And you're like, oh yeah, this is a movie and characters are in the movie and can have reaction things. And it underscores the extent to which pretty much all of the other fight sequences do not have any of that stuff going on with them and have no emotional stakes in them and don't really have any performances underpinning them. They're just people hitting other people and that sort of nonsense. Like, there's no real sense of who these people are, why they're fighting, or what they actually want. And the problem with that is that sequence with Urban and Baraka is the only point in the movie where Johnny Cage gets to actually have a character. Where Cage, in order to convince Baraka to join their party, has to perform being the arrogant, blowhard, Hollywood stunt person with the massive ego. It's very telling that that is the clip that they used a lot in trailers with the bit where he goes, "Showtime," because it's the only point in the movie where Cage has an actual character and is not a plot function. Like, throughout the movie, all of the characters do exactly what they need to do in order to advance the plot in the way that the plot needs to be advanced, and are not allowed any space to have like individual perspectives or personas or attitudes. Like Cage, who is introduced as this guy who is like washed up movie star signing VHSs at a convention or whatever, is approached by a bunch of really strange people who are like, "Hey, you want to come join our fight tournament?" And he's like, sure, I guess. And walks through and joins their fight tournament. He sees a guy with robot arms. He goes, "Hey, there's a guy with robot arms." And then they talk about the amulet. They explain the lore. They explain the stakes of the tournament. They explain that it is Mortal Kombat and therefore lethal. He goes, "You know what? I'm out of here." And he walks out, but before he goes, he turns around and says to them, "Just so we're clear, so you do not think that I am an asshole, I'm going to say to you, good luck, because I'm a nice person, and this movie cannot have any interpersonal conflict. Despite being a movie about, quote-unquote, Mortal Kombat, I want people to know that emotionally it's a safe space." So he leaves, he goes to a bar, he is rude to a fan, and you're like, maybe this Johnny Cage character has an edge. But after he is rude to the fan who has invaded his personal space, politely but firmly, you get a several-second shot of Karl Urban looking really sad, thinking to himself, "Should I have been rude to that fan? Maybe that was too much. Maybe I was too mean in this movie called Mortal Kombat," and so on and so forth. And like, the entire movie is that. There are no stakes, there's no character, there's no tension, there's no drama, there is no sense of personality. And that is like a death knell to me for making a movie like this. Like, how spoilery are we allowed to get here? And can you spoil Mortal Kombat 2?
You don't need to put the thing out. None of this matters. Also, at the end of the movie, they're just like, "Hey, can we use this wizard to bring everyone back to life?"
Yeah.
So none of
the end of the movie is, by the way, just so we're clear, you know the way we said it was Mortal Kombat, yeah? And you know the way that people died, yeah? Well, third movie, we're going to be reversing all of that.
Yep. To be fair, that is the most Mortal Kombat thing that could happen. You get to the next game, like, fuck it, we just brought everyone back.
My favorite part is that the
hero and Scorpion turn up for the final third of the fucking movie, have the same fight that they did in the first movie that ends in the same way that it did in the first movie, and you're like,
right? And our hero of the first movie says, "Oh, actually, I'm not supposed to win this fight, so I'm going to fly off to my home planet for a little bit. Bye."
Like, he gets super killed. The guy from the first movie. Yeah, the main character of the first movie gets killed in the acid pit by.
No. I'm sorry.
After having a total of 3 lines, by the way.
Good, because he was boring in the first movie. They fixed it. Y'all are nuts. First off, I'm not going to be gaslit like this. This movie fucking whips ass. Y'all are wrong.
I love how you brought the gate roaring. Like, I love that you were like,
y'all are wrong.
Timidly.
I can't do this yet. Jack, you haven't got to give your side of the things. No. Jack, give your side of things.
It's okay. So instead of paying any amount of money to see this movie, watch a YouTube compilation of all the Mortal Kombat characters' intro lines and YouTube compilations of all the fatalities, and that will be this movie. That's it. This movie...
the Paul W.S. Anderson movie.
No. What I'm saying is, this movie can be replaced by a 12-minute compilation video, and that is not an okay thing to say.
Y'all are nuts. Y'all are nuts. And I get, listen, I'm sure this is how people who liked Mario felt when we were just putting him on the pyre the other week.
Because here's the thing, man. Here's the other thing. here's the other thing. Like I have proselytized for movies with simple setups and long action sequences. We can talk about how much John Wick rules. The Raid Redemption is beautiful. The
Dredd, to pick an example, starring like the star of this movie.
Dredd. Yeah.
Dredd is amazing. But like the Raid Redemption's plot is there's a raid. That's it. Like that's the context. But what we get is story-based action sequences, a give and a take. It's a wrestling picture. Like we get interesting fight sequences in which there are ups and downs and stakes, highs and lows for each fighter. The closest we get to that in this movie is like, oh, the buzzsaw hat hurts the buzzsaw guy, I guess. Like the fight sequences aren't interesting enough to justify its lack of story or character.
I disagree. I do think the fight scenes are interesting enough, actually. I will agree, though. You compare it to wrestling. I kind of see this movie like a wrestling pay-per-view. When I watch a wrestling pay-per-view, I watch the matches, and then as soon as the match is over, I tune out until the next match starts. I'm like, I do not care what is going on.
That's why they keep hitting the amulet points. So that, like, maybe Marty might drift in this time. We stress we
the amulet was just
amulet.
a MacGuffin, right? It's just
I know, but
whatever.
It's like you don't need to like explain it. Continue. I don't object to the MacGuffin. It's the once every 15 seconds a character must remind you that the MacGuffin is the MacGuffin.
Listen, the movie might play on Netflix someday. You got to be prepared for that.
The real thing that upset me about this movie is the snake eating its own tail. They know that the audience for this movie will be scrolling on their phone, even in the goddamn theater. And by the way, several theater employees were in the theater too. Nobody stopped. There was a lady in the front row who accidentally turned on her phone flashlight 6 times during the movie with theater employees walking by. I couldn't say anything. It was a woman. It was a woman of color. It was a woman of color in a wheelchair. I couldn't say anything. But
maybe that was like a show of solidarity every time one of the Earth Realmers won their match.
But
like holding up a lighter at a concert.
The movie knows that it's shit, and so it starts restating the points because it knows that the audience will be pulling away on their phone because it's bad, therefore continuing the downward spiral that is the medium. This movie,
like a real
film as a whole.
This was a real. I felt like a real obsession bear at this movie because the first movie ended, and I was like, "Why don't you just do a movie that's a Mortal Kombat tournament?" And the monkey paw curled, and all of a sudden they did the movie where it was just the Mortal Kombat tournament. I'm like, well, I don't know what it was like Arrested Development where he opens the bag that says dead dove and he's like, I don't know what I expected. And I'm like, well, this is exactly what I expected from the movie. That was just a Mortal Kombat tournament.
That is the thing where it's like so much of this movie feels like it is. So much of this movie is calibrated to correct the mistakes of the first movie, but in like the most passive aggressively weird way where it's like, I didn't like Cole in the first movie. I wasn't a huge fan of the character of Cole in the first movie. I don't know why he couldn't just be Liu Kang or whatever, etc. But the movie's like, nope, Cole, he's your protagonist. We're going to put so much weight on Cole and his family. We're going to get you you're going to have Cole coming out of your ears. You're going to be a Cole nation by the time we're finished with you. And I'm not a Cole nation by the end of it. So they take the note. And so in the second movie, from the outset, it is like so aggressively sidelining Cole, where the end of the first movie, if I remember correctly, is Cole being like, I'm going to go to LA to meet Johnny Cage. And this second movie is like, no, you don't. Only popular characters get to meet Johnny Cage. So it's like Liu Kang, Raiden, and Sonya get to go meet Liu Cage. But like Cole has a total of 3 lines and then is killed to generate stakes. And it's like, you are so pandering to me directly and specifically in a way that is so transparent and so cynical that I can't even enjoy this thing that you are doing because you think that I will like it, which is a very it happens a lot in pop culture, but like this is one of the most egregious examples where it's just like, you're giving me the thing that I want. Like I've broken that Wish Willow and I've been like, I wish for a Mortal Kombat 2 that has a fighting tournament in it and less Cole. And the movie's like, well, Darren, your wish is cursed because you're a terrible person.
The movie Crab walks out of the shadows.
Yes.
But But like Cole gets a total of 3 lines before he is killed by Shao Kahn to generate stakes and tension. And it's very similar to like what the Indiana Jones, The Dial of Destiny did with Mutt, which is like, you guys hate Mutt, right? And I'm like, I do hate Mutt. You're right. It's like, well, he died off screen. And I'm like, okay, that I can make my peace with. And it's like, and by the way, that is the emotional crux of this movie. I'm like, no. No. The movie's like, you don't like Cole. I'm like, no, I don't like Cole. Well, Cole's gonna die. I'm like, I'm okay with that. Right. But it's going to show that the stakes are real. I'm like, no, you can't do that.
It would have been funny if they were just like, oh yeah, Cole got drafted and had to fight in Vietnam and died.
Iran. Yeah, Cole died in Iran.
As Mutt. I to be clear, I do not think this is like a capital G good movie, but I did thoroughly enjoy the fight scenes. And I know I'm not a big Mortal Kombat fan. Like I played them as a kid. Like I have not kept up on the Mortal Kombat games at all. And like this one was very much modeled after. I knew most of the shit from this one, so was modeled after the first 3 games because I recognize most of the stuff. Yeah, I don't know. Fight scenes worked for me. I thought the fight scenes were well choreographed. I liked that they went on sort of a whirlwind tour. Each one was set somewhere different, and the fight scenes felt a little bit different, not just because of who the combatants were, but because of the arena. I don't know. I don't know how to do like I don't know what a genuinely good Mortal Kombat movie looks like, or a genuinely good Street Fighter. Like I don't know what a holy shit. I can't believe like they gave us this out of this property. I don't know what that looks like.
Enter the Dragon, right? Like
because it's just but that's like resurrect Bruce Lee. Yeah.
Well, really, like I think this movie could have been salvaged with a couple very cheap reshoots. We needed like they went too far, right? Like first movie, way too much backstory, way too much context, not enough tournament. This time they're like, fine, you wanted tournament? Here, we'll break the dam open. And it's like, hey, how about just a little context? How about just a little this, you know what, Mortal Kombat 2? Okay. All right. Here's what I'm gonna get into. And I do apologize because this might make people uncomfortable. I'm going to compare Mortal Kombat 2 to pornography.
Okay.
I have...
I like that you call it porkography. Like
pornography. Pornography. There are 2 types of pornography as far as I am aware. Pornography that has a little bit of story to it, and pornography that's just fucking. And personally, for me, I like a little bit of story. I don't care what that context is. Oh, I ordered a pizza. It's got a penis in it. I don't care. Like, I just want a little bit of like, hey, neighbor, can I borrow your shower or whatever? I just want the bare minimum of story and context before we start fucking.
I like the idea of you being like Lebowski from The Big Lebowski, being like, you can imagine what happens next. Like he fixes the water heater.
She borrows the shower.
She borrows whatever. The point is, this felt like just fucking. Mortal Kombat 2 was just raw dogging, and I'm like, hey, who are these people and why are they doing the things they want to do? Get me into the Mortal Kombat 2, get me into the mood a little bit, all right?
They did. It's called Mortal Kombat 1. You didn't see the whole bloody feature, did you? They get sweeted together.
I meant to say, I think that, like, yeah, Marty comparing this, like, Mortal Kombat to Foreplay is a very interesting way of looking
First
at
off, that wasn't me. Wait, was it me? Who compared to that? Didn't Jack?
You did.
When Jack was like, I would like a little Foreplay, and you're like,
oh, and then Mortal Kombat 1's Foreplay.
Yeah.
Listen, it was COVID. We didn't know what was going on. It's fine. It's all messy and weird.
I mean, it is a very blue ballsy movie. I think you're right. Yeah.
Not enough Sub-Zero. The true man with blue balls.
Yeah.
Do we think Street Fighter, the movie coming out by in October, I believe, do we think that's gonna be better, equal, or worse than this?
I hope it's better.
I hope it's better.
I also hope it's better. That'd be nice.
I'm still reeling from Marty wondering like how to do these movies better, as if there is not an entire 3 decades of martial arts movies that does this better 9 times out of 10.
Hong Kong cinema has started becoming available in like Blu-ray and 4K.
Well, the movie that was in the Darren, I think you saw it at Cannes. The movie that was in like the almost the Kowloon walled city.
Oh yeah, the walled off. Yes,
yeah, that movie fucking
that
rules.
One, yeah. They do like a walking in the air. They do a montage set to walking in the air from the snowman. It is great. Yeah, and also like people have magic superpowers in that, and there's never a moment where they go, just so we're clear, this is how they got the fans.
You know what? If they didn't explain how they got the fans, your biggest complaint would be where did the fans come from?
No
one would care.
No one would care.
I think the one thing we can all agree with is if you're going to use your phone in the theater, sit in the front row.
So that everybody can see what you're looking at.
So that everyone can see what's going on.
So there was someone right in front of me who was texting throughout the whole movie, and the person I saw it with, said, "Man, that's a bright screen." And I made sure to say very loud, "Yeah, that is a really bright screen." And the person did continue texting, but they did turn down their brightness. So,
Listen, it's all about small victories in life. Exactly.
I will take that over the lady shining a literal flashlight on the screen to wash out the movie and show me the shadows of the seats in front of her.
Maybe she was scared. They went to the nether realm. It's a scary place. Remember when one of them like eats an apple and it turns out it's got bugs in it because they're in hell? That was scary. Okay, let's go over some more super chats, and then we'll talk about the rest of the stuff we've been watching. Sussy, Guru, thank you so much. Finally watched Der Astronaut. Thought it was a massive letdown. A tepid buddy comedy in space that manages to squander all of its sci-fi premises by burying it under jokes and slapstick. Should have watched Ad Astra instead. Is Der Astronaut Project Hail Mary?
Project Hail Mary, which is
Gotcha,
available on streaming now.
Gotcha. Der Astronaut is German for the astronaut. So there you go. Look, I just
very
taught you guys
descriptive
something.
title.
Yeah, thank you. How is that is that really the first movie in German history to get the title The Astronaut? Like, couldn't Interstellar have been called The Astronaut? Gravity could have been called The Astronaut. Gravity being called The Astronaut would have been great.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I thought it was a fun movie. I thought it was fine. It was absolutely perfectly
cromulent too, but it's fine.
Yeah.
Very well made movie. Like very, very well made movie.
Yeah.
But we've talked about that on length on an episode.
Yeah.
I wonder if that movie's gonna have a legacy. That movie seemed like it was a big deal when it came out. And I just wonder in a year from now, are people still going to be talking about it?
It is. It made $600 million, which is a lot of money for an Amazon release, and it kind of broke the ceiling for Amazon releases. And it is like significant. I'm glad it made the money that it did. It's a well-made movie. It's beautifully shot. The craft, it's incredible. But yeah, I don't see this is the thing where it's just so derivative of everything in that movie I have seen done in another. We talked about it. We've seen the climax is taken from Interstellar. The ending is taken from 2001: Space Odyssey. There's Gravity in there. There's First Man in there. There's Ad Astra in there. There's all these movies. There's Alien in there. There's Sunshine in there. And it's I don't know if the movie will have a long life, because when I want to watch Interstellar, I will just watch Interstellar. And it's really interesting because while this movie's been coming out, maybe this is just me because I'm on the Nolan web, so of course I'm seeing this. My algorithm.
The Nolan web.
Yeah, it's mostly a typewriter. We write letters to each other, long form.
Yeah.
But seeing things like that poll of Gen Z's favorite movie and it being Interstellar, seeing the report from Letterboxd that Interstellar is apparently the most watched movie logged on Letterboxd, for example. The idea that Interstellar has become Interstellar having another re-release in cinema, movie that is somewhere in the world 10 cinemas are always screening Interstellar. The idea of Interstellar being a movie that has this incredible long life behind it. And I'm looking at that and I'm thinking, I don't know that Project Hail Mary gets there. I don't know that Project Hail Mary has that kind of path ahead of it. And the question is do you want it to? Does it need to? Does it matter? It was a successful movie. It's well reviewed. I enjoyed it for what it was, but it won't be in perennial rotation.
No, I could see this kind of 20 years down the line, everyone going, oh yeah, here's I could see this being categorized as an underrated movie. 20, 30 years down the line being oh yeah, this is an underrated movie. Not many people talk about it. It's solid.
The deep impact of asteroid movies, yeah, it's
perfect. Pure Pyro, thanks for the dono. Thoughts on A Simple Plan?
The samurai movie from 1998. Billy Bob, yep.
Bob.
Really good movie.
And Bill Paxton, is incredible.
Yeah, the two brothers. Yeah.
It is, I think, the best of the Sam Raimi goes through this very brief and very weird take me seriously phase at that point in his career, where he does that. He does is What's the Gift with Kate Blanchett and like Keanu Reeves doing a southern accent, and he also does For the Love of the Game, which is a Kevin Costner movie, which is a bad decision for any director. Even Clint Eastwood was like, I'm not doing another Kevin Costner movie. I think A Simple Plan is the best of those, because it feels like a very Coens brothers movie, and obviously Raimi and the Coens kind of came up together. I believe that was it. Raimi wrote Crime Wave, and they wrote one of his early movies as well. Or those they wrote Crime Wave.
The Coens were editing on Evil Dead.
Yeah, they did something on Evil Dead.
Yeah.
And they've kind of like crossed over and stuff like that. I think he worked on like the Hudsucker Proxy and stuff. Like they're part of the same group of people. And so it's really interesting to watch Raimi do his version of a Coen Brothers movie, which is like a bag of cash movie, basically.
Oh yeah, very much like Blood Simple. Yeah.
And just a really charming movie. Like Jack was saying a moment ago, movies that are underrated, movies that were like well received at the time, well regarded at the time.
Yeah.
Nobody was like, this is a bad movie or this is awful or get this off the screens. Everyone's like, we like this movie a lot, but it seems to be largely forgotten. A Simple Plan is one of those. If you haven't seen A Simple Plan and you like a bag of cash movie, it's a good bag of cash movie.
Love a bag of cash movie.
Love a bag of cash movie.
Sussy Guru, thank you so much for the dono. I would like Darren and Jack to discuss at length. You can't say that in a super chat. You can't like request the length. I would, you know what? I would like Jack and Darren to very briefly, something that could fit into a single tweet, discuss the differing attitudes from the various eras of Star Trek that had towards AI, sentient computers, and robots. I think Data would not have survived a single episode in TOS, the original series.
Oh, sure, yeah. The original series had very different ideas on like the role of computers.
It was the 1960s. It was it is a product of its time. It's the fear that like white collar work and blue collar work is going to be replaced by computers. That we're all going to, and again, an anxiety that is very resonant today, for example, but was less resonant during the 90s when you had like the Next Generation and stuff like that. But in the 60s, there was a real sense of like industrialization is going to come again, and it's going to take the jobs of truckers. It's going to take, quite rightly, by the way, it's going to take the job of laborers and mechanics and people who work in factories and people who are blue collar who depend on these jobs for financial success. By the way, turns out to be largely incredibly validated to a certain extent, whereas the Next Generation is a product of, again, we talked about this, but it's a product of like Clinton era, kind of like neoliberalism and optimism, the kind of the end of history, like everything's great. The economy's booming. The Cold War is over. We got this shit on lockdown. There are no big global wars happening. They're all kind of localized skirmishes. Everything is under control and working as well as it possibly could. So of course it's like, isn't technology great? Don't we like the computers? Well, don't we like artificial
made largely during like the .com boom, where it's like America is swimming in cash now. Everything is great and nothing bad can happen.
And we're all going to be connected to each other using these computers.
And then we get like, modern era Star Trek Discovery, which is we all live in a black hole of suffering and hate.
Shit's fucked.
Which I guess like the very short version is, remember that these things were written decades apart from each other, and it's okay to look at them within the context that they are written.
Yeah.
Well said. Yeah. R.I.P. Thank you so much. What was the best Mortal Kombat movie sequel? This Mortal Kombat 2, Mortal Kombat Legends Battle for the Realms, which I assume is animated, or Mortal Kombat Annihilation, 1997's. I have not seen the animated one. I thought Annihilation was very bad, the sequel to the original Mortal Kombat movie. So de facto this one for me.
Damn it, Marty, I have to agree with you.
Incredible.
Okay.
Maybe that animated one's really good. Directed by Hayao Miyazaki.
Here's what I'll say. Pass.
Pass.
Damn it, I
I'll
just
just look at
realized
the
that
wall
was
for
an
a while.
option.
Listen, I'll just sit in the lobby for 90 minutes. I don't mind. I have some emails to catch up on. Yep. Boo-ray, thank you so much. Jack Burton would find a chicken leg and fumble with it while his allies beat everyone up. Also, maybe it was a review talking about how Jack is Kurt Russell's John Wayne impression.
Oh yeah, I want to say like he mentions that on one of his phenomenal audio commentary tracks that he usually does with John Carpenter, and they're usually drinking.
Sounds about right.
Yeah.
I just want them to work. I mean, I want Carpenter to work again in general, and as long as Carpenter wants to work. Like Carpenter is very happy getting high and playing Xbox, and that is the best that you can wish for. Collecting royalty checks from special editions and remakes of his work, and I'm like, I wish you all the best, Johnny. You certainly earned it. You had a rough, you had a rough job, but I'm like, I would love John Carpenter to make a movie again with a reasonable budget and less stress. But I would love Kurt Russell and Carpenter to team up just even one last time. You know?
Yes.
Yep.
Yeah.
God, that could be good. Like they're Unforgiven.
Oh God, yes.
Yeah.
Unforgiven, but with more pratfalls. Yes.
Exactly. Cool. I'm going to save this next one for when we dip into other stuff we've been watching. But then Rexelius, thank you so much with the dono. Thanks, Darren. First, you made me like Alien Covenant. Then Invincible goes to hell, and now I feel bad for being so hard on Garth Ennis. My cynicism just evaporates in your presence. Look at that.
I will say, I just put the hand up. I am myself quite mixed on Garth Ennis, where I think like Ennis can be incredible when he's writing like from his heart. His Preacher is stunning, and he is this really incredible sentimental artist. There's a really good tweet which is like Garth Ennis thinking of ideas for the boys, like, wouldn't it be funny if the Teen Titans got syphilis? Garth Ennis writing the boys. Those poor teenagers, they didn't ask to get syphilis. Like, there is this kind of, like, interesting, like, humanism underpinning Garth Ennis' cynicism that I find really compelling. But there are moments when, like, we've talked about this before, I'm not a big fan of Ennis's work on The Boys. That is just too much cynicism for me, and it is too dark and too, like, committed to the one-note jokeness of art superheroes awful. Whereas, like, Ennis doing something like Preacher, I find incredibly moving. His Marvel Knights Punisher run, which is Garth Ennis does Looney Tunes, but with Marvel superheroes, is great fun. Like, he has a sequence like where Frank Castle runs over Wolverine in a steamroller while Wolverine's like, "Oh, Gannick's at it again. The Wolverine Punisher team up is here to go." And Punisher's just like, "I don't want to be in a fucking Wolverine team up comic." And it is just the best shit ever. But yeah, I'm quite mixed on Ennis, but when he's good, he's great.
There you go. I'm going to combine a couple of these from RIP in a row. Thank you, RIP. Darren is the only person at second win that Eric cannot contain. The timer made him weaker, but not enough to stop him. And then commenting on Obsession with So the I Can Fix Her horror movie. A little bit. And then I tried one of these AI girlfriends, but it felt too weird. Too much polka for my taste. Polka. P-O-L-K.
Al, like Al girlfriends.
Yeah, you can.
I tried one of those Al girlfriends, like Weird Al Yankovic.
Oh, Jesus.
By the way, that is
I didn't realize we were going for a fucking hike today.
That is me assuming what the joke is. If that is not your joke, I do apologize. That's the only logical joke.
I like a joke where we can stamp our own humor onto the joke. Yeah. We could be like, this is what I think the joke meant, and I liked it. Yeah. Mopman, thank you so much for the dono. Tempting fate, but Darren, any thoughts on Cassandra Cain? One of my favorite comic book characters. Loved her in the 2000 Batgirl series.
Very fond of Cassandra Cain as a character, who is the child of, is it David Cain, the world's greatest assassin? But the idea is that she is a character who is born and raised as an assassin and trained by Batman to, like, embrace her humanity. She's initially like a silent character, which is a really clever concept for a comic book, because obviously comic books are a graphic medium without sound. And she basically learns and develops and kind of grows into a person. There's a really good, her solo series, and I wish I could remember who wrote it. It ran for about 36 issues, I want to say, is like a really good read. So I'm very fond of, like, Cassandra Cain as, like, a member of the extended Bat family. Big push to bring her back into continuity recently with the Batman. Was it Batman Eternal? It was Batman and Robin Eternal. Brought her back into continuity, and I think James Tynion used her in his Rise of the Batman, which is quite good as well. But very fond of the Cassandra Cain Batgirl series from the early 2000s, I want to say. Nice. One of my favorite of the Bat family.
Hell yeah. Jack, do you have a favorite member of the Bat family?
I had a joke, but then I thought I really enjoyed kind of a very soft reboot, the Batgirl of Belleville, as I want to say is what it's called. That's when she got her new outfit and kind of distanced
Cameron Stewart. Yes.
Yeah. Distanced herself from Bruce and the money. So basically, like, it was low rent Batman. Really, really fun run of that.
like wearing a tracksuit and sneakers. Like it's a very
Yes.
it was a product of like the mid 2010s when there was like for the grand total of like 6 months before Trump got elected, the comic book companies were like, what if, and hear us out here, we made comics for young people.
Yes.
And like and like the Batgirl, is a great example of that. The Batgirl,
Really?
what is it? The Batgirl
I want to say Belleville, but
Are you
something.
Are you thinking of the triplets? of
Burnside, the Batgirl of Burnside.
I was thinking the triplets of Belleville. I knew it was a B. The Batgirl of Burnside, which was low rent Batman. Like I like that idea. Like I much like I like what was it? Moon Girl and Devil Dinosaur, who was like low rent Iron Man. Of like I love people making trash gadgets.
Yeah, it's fun.
But and again, Moon Girl and Devil Dinosaur is like it's based on a comic book. That comic book was really charming because that comic book was aimed at like young girls who are not an audience that generally get comics aimed at them, and it's like so really sweet and like a really great comic to give to if you have without being weird, if you have little girls in your life, but if you have like friends who have kids who are young girls and want to get into comics, like that is a really great comic to give them. But it only exists for like 20 issues before Marvel's like, nope, like we tried, that didn't work.
Which is so sad.
Middle-aged men like you, Darren, and I'm like, really?
Because like I was buying these because they were shock and awe, fun to read.
Yeah, really charming.
Imagine that. It's crazy.
There's a really good, was it there's the Mighty Thor is another like Robert Langridge wrote it. It's like an 8-issue all ages Thor comic, which is just like a really fun read, but it's aimed at kids and like 8 issues and dead. It's like
yeah.
Rip. Nidoram, thank you so much with a $20 dono. Love the backdrop on adaptations today. The Leftovers started off as a rather close adaptation in the first season of the book, but once it got past where the book leaves off, the series became so much better and an all-time great television. I agree with that because I did read the book as well, which I thought was fine by Tom Peralta. But I think The Leftovers, especially once it gets into season 2 and season 3 and kind of becomes what it actually is one of my favorite TV shows ever.
The first season is very well made prestige television, but it is also like one of the most depressing things. And it, like the series is depressing after that as well, but it becomes a lot more confident in its tone, and it does a lot more balancing like darkness and depression and the inevitable acceptance of the meaninglessness of life and the inevitability of death with like, isn't that kind of funny too? In a way that isn't like overwhelming like the first season is. And thank you very much for the comment about the backdrop. Want to shout out, I know I shout him out every time, but like Jesse Schwab, the editor on that one, he really ran with that. I was out of work last week with family stuff. Jesse's always a co-author on any of those videos that he edits. He should be considered a co-author. I would, like we've talked about this, I'd be quite happy to do by Darren and Jesse at the end of it. But like his work on that is just astounding. I am as ever kind of in awe of it. So just a huge shout out to Jesse for that.
This is our regular reminder that we have incredible video editors and producers here.
And specifically Jesse Schwab, who is dare I say one of our best. And they don't often appear on camera, so many people might not know they exist. But no, phenomenal work.
And then back to RIPs. Thank you so much. Which we'll dip over to the rest of the stuff we've been watching. Darren, can you talk about The Mandalorian and Grogu? Sorry, Jack. Darren, you got to see The Mandalorian and Grogu earlier today?
No, earlier yesterday for my sins.
Earlier yesterday. Obviously, next episode we'll be doing. Jack might have diarrhea that week. We don't know.
The term possibility has been used.
I am scheduling diarrhea in 2 weeks from now.
Make sure you get the right time zone.
Spring cleaning.
So I won't be there, and you guys can talk all the Grogus you want.
But I don't wanna. Darren, give us a brief teaser of your thoughts on Mandalorian and Grogu before we obviously go way more in depth on the pod, and I'm sure we'll have a video and columns and stuff. What did you think of The Mandalorian and Grogu?
I did not care for it, Marty. But no, I really did not care for it. To talk very briefly about the stuff that works, Ludwig Göransson's score is always great. The Grogu puppet is fantastic and one of the great This is one of the things where Darren is like looking for a shiny thing that he likes in a movie. Like the Grogu puppet is incredible, but the Grogu puppet is incredible. And there is this weird 20-minute segment of the movie where it is just like Grogu and Babu Frick puppets wandering through the landscape, and it is almost like Lucasian is how I would describe it, where it is like it's Jon Favreau feels like he's kind of attained his purest self, which is like, what if I could just make a movie that didn't have people in it? Wouldn't that be great? If there were no humans in my movie, wouldn't that be fantastic? And I'm watching it going, this is a really interesting experiment. If anything, it reminds me of like Attack of the Clones in terms of like making Star Wars that is so specifically wired to the brain of one particular person that it becomes almost impossible to any human being who is watching
it can't be a true Jon Favreau movie unless he casts a hot lady as his co-star / love interest. So.
Yeah. No, and his ex-wife. His ex-wife and his love interest. And Robert Downey Jr. is his best friend, in case you're wondering. I'm doing great. Thank you very much. I say, like, I like Jon Favreau. He seems really personable. Like and I will say his interviews and press around The Mandalorian and Grogu have been very charming as well. He's like he seems like a lovely guy. And part of me is like, as I was coming out of the screening, talking with fellow critics, it's like, yeah, Jon Favreau does seem like a nice guy. That Family Guy joke of he seems like the kind of guy who'd help you move if you asked him to. And it does seem like he's a guy who never got a note from a studio that he objected to in any strenuous way, shape, or form. So all that is the nice stuff that Darren has to say about The Mandalorian and Grogu. Which is just otherwise like an abysmal piece of cinema and a really depressing state of like the art form, and feels very much like Mortal Kombat 2 and the Super Mario Galaxy movie. It is a movie that
you had me for a second.
That demonstrates.
When you said Mortal Kombat, I was like, "Fuck yeah!" And then you
Mortal
said
Kombat
Mario.
2 specifically. But it is a movie that kind of demonstrates that like even if you shoot it on IMAX like cameras, 5 episodes of television are still 5 episodes of television. It is. Favreau has said that we had a 4th season of The Mandalorian already written, and we threw it out and we wrote the movie from scratch. I am maybe a little bit skeptical of that. I suspect that what he did was he rewrote about 5 episodes of it and structured it into the movie. The movie ditches a lot of the lore and the homework of The Mandalorian, which is a good idea in theory. There's no Bo-Katan, there's no Mandalore, there's no all that sort of like, stuff about Moff Gideon. Moff Gideon is still dead, to be clear. Moff Gideon has not actually returned. But also, despite doing that inexplicably, the movie's villains are a guy who appeared in the background of the penultimate episode of The Mandalorian Season 3. And, I hope you're ready for this, 2 gigantic CGI slugs who appeared in the Book of Boba Fett. And I'm like, what are we even fucking doing here? I'm like, what is how, like, you understand that, like, this is a movie. You should, like, have, like, actors in it, and you should have characters and arcs and a story, and it should matter. Like, we talk. Oh, I should wrap this up. I'm sorry. I'm beginning to rant, and I apologize. But like, one of the big things is you're taking a show that a property that you have sent to streaming, and you are trying to transition it back to film. And like, one of the obvious points of comparison, and I'm sorry, Marty, is Star Trek, where it's like Star Trek is a TV show that becomes a film franchise. And when Star Trek goes from TV to film, there is an inherent understanding that there is a difference in the two mediums, and like, television and film are different. They are made differently. They operate according to different assumptions, and the logic underlying them is fundamentally different from one another. So, when Star Trek goes to cinemas, you hire Robert Wise to direct it. Robert Wise, who has 2 Best Directing Oscars, 2 Best Picture Oscars. You hire the special effects team who like worked on the Star Wars movies and who worked on 2001: A Space Odyssey to give a sense of widescreen spectacle and flair that was completely different from what was seen on screen. You have things happen, like you give Kirk a bastard son in Star Trek 2, or you kill off Spock in Star Trek 2, or you have Kirk meet an enemy worthy of him, like God in Star Trek 5, or a shapeshifter who can turn into Kirk in Star Trek 6. You basically understand. Yeah, the Star Trek 5, which, by the way, is written and directed by William Shatner, finally gives Kirk an enemy who is worthy of Kirk. And that is God. And that is God. Yeah, Kirk.
My One
by the
Piece
way,
boys
Kirk
are fighting
wins.
God right now where I'm at.
Yeah.
Episode 172, and they're fighting God. I'm like, there's 800 more episodes. How are you already fighting God?
Shatner deals with that in 2 hours. But yeah. But like, there is a clear sense of like escalation and change and transition. There's an understanding that film and television are different, and if you're going from one medium to another, you need to change. And the problem with this is this just feels like it could have been 5 episodes of The Mandalorian that have been smushed together into a movie. Like, it even adopts the same format with like a teaser and then the title drop of The Mandalorian, like the show, which is like such a bad call, because you're sitting in the cinema going, oh yeah, I watched 3 episodes of this on a plane yesterday. That's not the experience you want sitting in an IMAX cinema. Sorry.
It's also the wrong time to evoke the TV show. Again, we'll move on from this very briefly. But it's a wrong time to evoke the TV show because like the stock has never been lower. If this would have came out like after season 1, then it would have been like, all right, some Mandalorian in the theaters. But like by this point, especially after bringing Luke back, you just kind of like poisoned the well, and then you did the Book of Boba Fett, and then it just feels like every non-Andor series has gotten like less and less attention on it to the point where I'm just like, man, I do not care about these guys. And I really cared about them in 2019 or 2020 or whenever Disney Plus debuted.
Mm-hmm.
Like even the idea that it's a movie and like you can do things in a movie that you can't do in the show. Like you can kill off Spock in the movie. You can give Data his emotion chip in the movie, for example. You can have Picard fuck in the movie if that's what you want to happen.
We do.
But like the Mandalorian and Grogu does none of that. Like there's nothing that justifies this being a movie. And it's like the closest thing they have to it being a movie is we got Sigourney Weaver here. And I'm leaning in, I'm going, wait, is Sigourney Weaver going to play like a camp scenery chewing villain? No, she's going to fit into the role that was played by the Blue Squadron leader on the TV show, by the guy from Kim's Convenience, and we just gave her all of his lines. You're like, I don't feel like that's using Sigourney Weaver in the right. You ain't got Sigourney Weaver. Be grateful.
She's better or worse than she was in The Defenders when she popped up as the main bad guy.
When she played not Mephisto.
She was like decoy bad guy in The Defenders, which is like one of the many problems with that show. Let's replace Sigourney Weaver, one of the most beloved actors of her generation, a several-time Oscar nominee, with Elodie Young. I don't know.
Seems fine. My last question: how's Martin Scorsese?
Oh, you know that he's in it. Okay, I can talk about that. He has a 2-scene cameo as a CGI character, and it's kind of like Outcome, which is the Jonah Hill Apple movie that he's in, where he's in 2 scenes as well. I'm like, is this the best scene of the movie? Where like I'm watching the movie, and again, when Sigourney Weaver pops up on screen, I'm like, this movie would get like infinitely more juice if Sigourney Weaver were the villain, if she were like the evil head of the crime syndicate who like randomly executes people. And I'm like watching this, I'm like, Scorsese, who pops up in 2 scenes as a CGI like kebab chef, and I'm like, actually, what if Martin Scorsese were like the evil villain and the Mandalorian and Grogu? Would the movie gain infinitely more juice from that? And instead it's just like it could have been played by anybody. It's a really odd thing. Like I think of like Werner Herzog in the first season of The Mandalorian, which is great. Like Herzog is incredible in that season.
Yeah.
And I'm like,
see the baby.
I would like to see the baby. And I'm like, if you could do something like that with Scorsese, because when Scorsese's name popped up in the credits, I did sit up straight. I was like, oh, are we going to have Scorsese sitting in a bar in like a Star Wars cloak or something, like with a blaster? And no, instead it's just like, no, we locked him in a sound booth and did a CGI creature for him while he cuts kebabs. And it's like, it is really, it's frustrating. Sorry, I apologize. Too much Mandalorian talk about that.
No.
Oh, listen, I've been playing Dark Souls 2 this whole time. Don't worry.
I just get prepped. It's totally fine.
That stomach is starting to rumble.
Yeah.
I can
It's
feel
in
it
the second
coming
screen
on.
here
Perfect.
at Alpines. Yeah.
Jack, have you did you see anything else in theaters besides? Or
I
watch
did.
anything this week worth talking?
Oh yeah, I watched. I guess we'll start with something that got me out of my death spiral from Mortal Kombat 2, which is even though it's listen, here's the real problem with afternoon screenings. I love an afternoon screening. Usually it's pretty darn quiet.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of elderly people, and elderly people sure do like to fall asleep during screenings. So I had what I'm assuming is the Sheep Detective's score isn't mostly an old man snoring very loudly.
I mean, to be fair, it is literally a movie about counting sheep. You can't really blame like a tired old man for going to the sheep detective.
That's fair. But I watched The Sheep Detective, which is absolutely delightful. Like one, it's a very loving family movie. I know, Darren, you talked about it a couple weeks ago, but it's a lovely, well-crafted family movie that 100% goes significantly darker and realer than I thought it would go, which is wonderful to see. But it's also a really good mystery, like a very competent, like I was invested in trying to figure out who done it along with the sheep. So
it's properly set up, like things like the clues are like legitimately good clues and stuff. Yeah.
clues are legitimately good clues. The ways in which our detectives figure it out is wonderful. The interplay, like giving our sheep personality and motivation. It's like, oh, if only the characters in Mortal Kombat 2 could have as much personalities as these fucking
CGI sheep.
Wait, so this is a murder mystery about sheep?
Hugh Jackman is a shepherd with sheep, and the sheep, to us, the audience, can talk to each other, not to Hugh Jackman. Hugh Jackman is then murdered,
Dun, dun, dun.
but while he was alive, was very fond of reading books to his sheep, as he was a very good shepherd. And most of the books he read to them were murder mysteries, Agatha Christie style murder mysteries. So the sheep take it upon themselves to solve the mystery, because of course, if a human dies, it must be murder, because that's the only thing they know about human life. And as it turns out, they were correct. And so then they are kind of like figuring it out and helping the local dummy police officer
Nicholas
gather
Braun
evidence.
Yeah.
Oh, so fun.
So this movie's a You Done It.
Hi-oh!
He's back.
It
feels
also,
good.
like,
Now I know why you guys do it.
Yeah.
Marty, if you were to tell me you were going to be the one to say the pun for this, I would have not deleted it. I would have not deleted it.
All right, you got a little. You threw a little too close to the sun
down
there.
our throats, but anyway.
Incredible. So I do want to see this. This
I
sounds
did think
great.
that second one was kind of bad.
Yeah, that's fair. That's fair.
Beautiful.
No, highly recommended. Smile ear to ear, even like obviously during the sad parts, and it gets incredibly sad.
Yes.
It gets very real. Like we learn life
Yeah.
lessons, but ear to ear smile through the whole viewing.
Yeah.
Like I think I mentioned I saw this with like two friends and their like 6-year-old kid, and
Yeah.
like at one point the mother literally like hit the dad on the shoulder because he was paying too much attention to the movie, and it's like, I think this is a time for a toilet break, and like if. Just to be clear, like, because we need to escort the 6-year-old kid out of the movie so that we don't have any questions about this particular scene.
Yes.
And I will also say the mother did then cry at the final shot of the movie.
Yes.
Where she was like, fucking Cloud. Fucking movie.
It is that old, like, I was dubious. I grew up on Babe. A lot of us grew up on Babe.
Love Babe.
Yeah.
Love Babe, and I've heard from Darren specifically, like this is up there with Babe. I can confirm this is up there with Babe.
Yeah.
It's
George
super
Miller,
good.
eat your heart out.
Really, really delightful and wonderful viewing, or not viewing experience, because that I got a smudge on my screen, and I got an old man snoring in my ear, and it was.
But the movie was good enough to persevere.
Yeah.
It was a movie that made me write an angry email to my local theater chain.
Listen, that's called grassroots efforts.
Yeah,
cause and change from the bottom. I like it.
That's what I saw in the
anything else?
theaters as well. I saw a couple other ones. I did a rewatch of Spider-Man No Way Home, just to kind of prepare for the new Spider-Man, as I only saw it in the theaters. And I came out feeling pretty similar, where it's like, this is fine. It is like very upsetting that like it takes 3 movies to get Spider-Man back to like start his starting line.
Yeah, where he's like a poor kid in New York who's lonely and trying to make it work using with his powers. Yeah,
We finally cracked it. Cracked it.
Finally, after 3.5. No, actually, probably if we add up all of his other movies that he was in.
Oh yeah,
4
Civil War and
movies.
stuff.
Yeah.
4
full movies with Spider-Man, and we finally get to where he can start. It felt a very, very bad, and of course, it's just very dumb. Of like, Doctor Strange is still right there. Go introduce yourself. He remembers Spider-Man fought with him on an alien planet. Go fucking introduce yourself, you goddamn idiot. But
Spider-Man sitting there with the one wish willow, you know?
Yeah.
Exactly.
What do I do?
But I think I came out of it a little happier. Just like, oh, there's some really fun scenes. There's some really fun sequences, some good villain turns. And by good villain turns, I mean, like, there was a bit of good Dr. Octopus, and Willem Dafoe is amazing forever. Yeah. And the other villains were there.
And Jamie Foxx arrived on set on time. Well done, Jamie Foxx.
Reese Evans was definitely in that movie.
It was
It's
certainly.
Like,
there was definitely
like
a Thomas Hayden Church, maybe.
Yeah, maybe.
yeah, he certainly showed up in the booth.
Yeah.
The other thing I saw that I do want to, I just want to give a quick shout out as it's been on my list for a while. I got to finally cross it off, which is Park Chan-wook's No Other Choice.
Ooh, yeah.
Oh man! If you all are looking for a feel bad movie, there might not be a better one.
Yeah.
Everything sucks and everything's terrible, and we're making the best decisions we can in a terrible world. Jesus
I
Christ.
don't know that that's
Capitalism.
the takeaway that I get from that, Jack.
Late
I don't
stage
know that,
capitalism.
No, I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Everything sucks and everything's terrible, and I'm making bad choices, and maybe this is the best I can do because everything's terrible.
But at least we're making choices. Yeah.
But at least we're making choices. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, that movie's incredible.
Absolutely incredible. A great amount of comedy, a great amount of levity to a movie that is abysmally feel bad.
Yeah.
So-
And his previous movie was really good too, Decision to Leave.
Mm.
From like 2022, so I'd recommend both those.
Another great like phones movie without being
Yeah.
strictly about phones. Like another great like we are all interconnected in technology era movie, much like this is. This is a movie also about like interconnectivity and like it is in large part about American influence and foreign influence in general on Korean culture. Like the ending of No Other Choice has just kind of stayed with me because it is such a like perfect encapsulation of the movie's worldview.
Yeah. No, and it is a movie where after, once credit starts rolling, you're just going to sit there and stare into space for a little bit because it is not a fun watch. It is a great movie that really, really makes you think about how bad everything is.
Yeah.
2 thumbs up would recommend.
Yeah.
And then I've been watching more. I see in the chat right now. I have been watching more Jujutsu Kaisen with my youngest, who's a big anime fan. I'm just going through the series. I have not seen Jujutsu Kaisen 0. I don't know what that is.
The movie should be watched between season 1 and 2. It will provide a lot of information that helps in season 2. That being said, I do think the series gets confusing. Legitimately, I watched season 3 and I'm like, this is like a lot of stuff going on for me to handle. Jujutsu Kaisen 0 is a prequel that sets up a lot of those season 2 characters. And you'll be fine.
I didn't watch it, and I'm deep into season 2, so fuck it.
Yeah, you'll be fine. I think you'll manage.
Yeah.
I have to ask, Jack, did you finish Daredevil Born Again season 2? Because you're that close to the finish line.
By the way, did I finish it?
Yeah. You literally had one more episode to watch because you complained about it on the last episode, which would imply that you got to the penultimate episode.
Give me try to. By the way, this is how much I dislike Daredevil Born Again. I can't necessarily remember if I finished the season.
Where is
a very
Matthew Murdock in
ending.
jail?
Yeah. I love that, just spoil it right out there.
I don't know. What is he or isn't he in jail?
No. So no. Oh shit! I didn't watch. By the way, that's how much I disliked it. I forgot to fucking watch the season finale. What a bullshit season of television.
But it's not even I didn't watch the season finale. I got to the penultimate episode. I have sunk so much time into this TV show. Another 40 minutes is just too much.
I couldn't be fucking bothered. What a waste of space. I will watch it probably, but so far it's just been an absolute. Here's what I would love. I would love for someone to map out all of the things that actually happened in the season, because I think it'll only amount to 5. There's so little that happens within an entire season of television. It is shocking how much they spin their goddamn wheels on this show.
A lot of wheel spinning.
Jack, you will be pleased to hear that at the very least, the conflict between Kingpin and Daredevil reaches a very decisive conclusion in which both parties are neatly handled and those ends are tied off. And there is absolutely no way, I repeat, no way, that when season 4 or 5 or whatever we're counting this to be begins, that Kingpin will just happen to wander right back into the show again, as if the consequences of this entire season had never happened at all. You will be delighted to hear.
I doubt it. I will watch it. This is the last burden that I have to bear. Is I do still generally like Marvel stuff. I will begrudgingly watch it if I can make it.
The Punisher special?
I got that's on my list too, and I don't want to. It looks so bad.
Listen, it's just one last kill, Jack. It's just a little kill.
No, but he's got to be in the Spider-Man movie too.
He's not going to kill anyone. Those are going to be rubber bullets. There's going to be one last maiming, one last serious injury.
Batman, the animated series adaptation of like Frank Miller's Dark Knight Returns, is like where they have him firing the machine gun like Frank Miller's Batman, and he turns the camera and just stares the audience deadpan in the face and goes, "Rubber bullets, I swear."
That's all you got to say at the end, and everything's fine, right? Yeah. Cool. Darren, what have you been watching?
So I did finish Daredevil about 3 months ago now, it seems. We'll talk about that when Jack gets around to finally watching it, because I feel like Jack should be allowed to process that episode of television on his own in terms of come back around. I did watch the Punisher One Last Kill for my sins. Weirdly enough, like I did not like it, but I seem to be more positive than a lot of people are, where it is a 40-minute special that is 2 halves of 2 very different stories. Each half is, I think, serviceable on its own terms, but cramming them together into a 40-minute episode of television is catastrophic. The first 20 minutes of this serial are, boy, it really sucks to be the Punisher. Man, it's so depressing being the Punisher, having punished everybody, and having to deal with the fact that my life is so empty and nobody loves me because I am the Punisher. I'm having hallucinations in which people yell at me about how useless my life is and how I serve no purpose. And I'm like, okay, this is an angle for a take on the Punisher. What happens to the Punisher when he has completed the mission that he set for himself, particularly in the confines of the MCU, where the character has always been motivated specifically by the murder of his family rather than a generic war on crime like his comic book counterpart. What happens when the concept of the character quite literally runs out because of how you have chosen to define that character in order to make him palatable to audiences? That is a decent hook for a show. And 20 minutes of the show is that. And I'm like, okay, you can do something with that. And Barenthal is very good at doing pathos. He's very good at seeming sad. He's like a great sad man on camera. I'm kind of on board with that.
Yeah.
And then like 20 minutes into the special, Judith Light rolls up in like an electronic wheelchair playing Maud Ganucci, a character who has appeared in like precisely 12 Punisher comic books over the course of the character's history. And it's like, by the way, you killed my entire that's a great shot of Maud Ganucci. Good call there, Eric. She's like, by the way, you may not remember, but you killed my entire family off screen, and here's a quick montage of that happening. So I have decided to enact a raid upon you. I have paid everybody in this building a large sum of money to hunt you down and kill you and enact like horrible vengeance upon you. And the next 20 minutes of the special are, man, it fucking rocks to be the Punisher, where it is like a 20-minute remake of The Raid, in which like John Barenthal just like plows his way like through goon after goon after goon, with no introspection whatsoever, none of like the guilt or the shame or the moral complexity or the what have I become inner angst that drove the first 20 minutes of the special.
Yes.
It is instead just watch me throw a blender at this guy, watch me break a baseball bat and jam it into a dude's eye. Isn't that kind of cool? Watch what I can do with the corner of a wall. There is quite literally a moment where Frank gets thrown off a roof in a terrible CGI shot. He lands on like a concrete block and he looks up and there's this guy with a knife about to jump down at him. And John Barenthal just goes, huh, and just kind of like sighs exhaustedly. And I'm like, that is the perfect energy for this. Yeah. It is just like Frank Castle being like, I am so fucking tired of having to deal with this shit. And it's like, it is solid turn off your brain entertainment, despite the terrible CGI that has been showcased, like trying to CGI John Barenthal's face onto a stunt double in what looks like a deleted scene from the Last of Us video game.
On it is PS3, actually not the PS4 or PS5 version. No. It looks like the PS3 version.
Yeah. But like allowing for that like shot, I think the action in the second half is mostly quite decent. It is very enjoyable and it's very silly. The problem is that it is completely incompatible with you having sat me down for 20 minutes telling me how hard it is to be the Punisher and how it sucks to be the Punisher. You can't then pull the ripcord and go, by the way, fun time begins now. And the movie just, it kind of like, it suffers from that. And there is the Barenthal thing where this is like written by Barenthal. It's directed by the guy who directed like King Richard, which Barenthal kind of like was in and was quite good in. But it's that thing of like Barenthal being like weirdly protective of the Punisher, where he's like, this character means a lot to like US veterans of foreign wars, and so I have to be respectful of him. Like, he now has like a Marine tattoo that he didn't have during the show, which, to the point about Katana and the fans, raises some interesting questions about like Frank Castle being like, you know what, when I was in the Marine Corps, I didn't feel like getting a tattoo to mark me as a Marine. Now that I've become a vigilante who murders people extrajudicially, this feels like the right time for me to brand myself as a Marine. But this thing that exists with the Punisher, which I've always had difficulty with, I think Marvel has like struggled to like reconcile, of this thing where the Punisher is a vigilante who murders people and like a poster child for post-traumatic stress disorder, and a critique of the US military industrial complex and the way in which it turns people into killing machines through the art of killology, but being embraced by the people who are within that same machine and treated as like a hero, which is very strange to me. I don't, obviously everybody's experiences are their own experiences, and I don't want to generalize. I don't want to speak of something I don't have any experience of, but I find it very strange to be like, if I had served in war and I had like served my country and I had done things for my country and I had like served honorably and been discharged, I don't know that I would want to be associated with the image of Frank Castle as the veteran who went off to war, came home and became an unstoppable killing machine, waging a perpetual war on crime. And it is an unsquarable circle to me with the character that like good writers like mine stuff from, like Greg Rucka and Garth Ennis, but Barenthal just like unironically is like, hoorah, this Punisher is a patriotic, it's my salute to our brave soldiers and men and women overseas. And I'm like, I don't know that it works that way, John. But he's like, nope, it is, and it does. And I'm like, I don't know. It's very strange. Yeah, so two halves that are fine individually, but just do not work together as a cohesive whole. I found.
Yep.
Fair.
Yeah.
Anything else? Was that it?
Yeah, so okay, let's do a very
We need you to
quick,
do speed round. We got to be out of here in like 15 minutes. We got a bunch of super chats.
Okay, boom, 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 boom. Let's go. Okay, so Trad, which is the Irish music film, it is fine. Really great showcase for the West of Ireland. Beautiful cinematography there. The Terror, Devil in Silver, which is airing on AMC. It is the third season of The Terror, which is a show that I love, and I know that Nick also quite likes. It is the horror anthology show. It's Victor Lacelia adapting like his own novel. It stars the wonderful, what's his name, Dan Stevens, playing another person who's institutionalized in a psychiatric institution. It is a horror story about a psychiatric institution that is haunted by a demon that is preying on the inhabitants of that institution. And it's basically about like systemic failure and kind of moral erosion. It is very well made. I had a very good time with it. It is only like, is it 6 episodes long? So it is very bingeable, very easy to watch. That is on AMC and Shudder now. I would wholeheartedly recommend it. I watched At Close Range, which is the is it the John Foley movie from the mid 80s, starring Sean Penn and Christopher Walken, which is like the weird, like warped evil twin of like Witness, which is a movie about living in rural Pennsylvania during the Reagan era, and is about how like actually it turns out that small town America is just as greedy and corrupt as like the rest of Reagan era America. It is this story about like family and business and what happens when family and business kind of collide with one another, based on a true story of like a rural Pennsylvanian crime family. Walken is, as usual for Walken when he's given meaty material like this, incredible in it. The movie itself is fine, I guess, on average. Badlands, the Terrence Malick film, which I finally watched for the first time ever. Obviously, it's an adaptation.
God. What a movie.
It is an incredible movie. You can tell that Darren was on an upper, where it's like rural American Pennsylvania crime movie, Badlands, The Terror, Devil in Silver. But like Badlands is, it for those who don't know, it is one of Terrence Malick's earliest films from 1973, starring Sissy Spacek and Martin Sheen. It is a loose adaptation of the Starkweather homicides, the story of like these two teenagers, or this teenager and this 20-something-year-old man who went on like a killing spree across America before being tracked down, and this kind of media sensation that built up around them. What I was quite taken by watching Badlands, which is only like 90 minutes long, is how obviously like it is in many ways Malekian. It is this kind of there's a lot of these storytelling through montage, which become kind of Malik's later signature with things like Tree of Life, for example, and like everything that he's made since. But I was quite taken with it as like a weird coming of age story that is fascinated on like the perspective of the girl, of this teenage girl who gets swept up in this crime spree, where I was not expecting this to be told from her perspective. It is largely narrated by her. She is like fascinated by this like young, like James Dean-esque kind of killing machine Kit Crothers played by Martin Sheen. But it is all from her perspective as she goes along on this ride with him. And it's this story about like this almost this weird twisted kind of Huckleberry Finn kind of American story of like, well, I was a teenager, I was in suburbia and I was bored and he seemed like he was a good time. So I guess we'll go on a killing spree across the United States together. But she kind of goes along out of curiosity. And there is this really interesting thing that happens through her narration where you can see her in real time have that realization, again, to bring it back to, we talked about obsession, we talked about this idea of like men being unable to perceive interiority in women, but this idea that she has of literally growing up in real time and realizing that this 20-something-year-old guy who pretends to be deep and profound and pretends to be like thoughtful and rebellious and against the system is actually kind of dull and boring and stupid when you spend time with him. And like she outgrowing him despite being 10 years younger than him. Where like I think like 10 minutes from the end, she's like, and when I meet my future husband, who won't be Kit, by the way, I'll settle down and we'll have a nice normal family in suburbia. And I'm really looking forward to that as we eat garbage out of the back of this car in the middle of this like weird adventure that we're on together. But cannot recommend enough. Badlands is an incredible movie from 1973. The New Faces of Death, which is it is fine. It's from the director of like How to Blow Up a Pipeline and Cam. Is it Daniel Goldhaber? I think it is. It is a movie that I feel kind of a little frustrated by because I expected it to be better than it was, and its starting premise is better than the movie ends up being. Where Goldhaber is this kind of very modern filmmaker who's very aware of all that stuff we talked about with like Curry Barker and like with Kane Parsons, this idea of like a younger generation of filmmaker who understands the internet and the way the internet has broken our brains. Where like Cam, which is a movie that I really like, is about a woman who loses her identity to her alternate persona, which is a metaphor for our fragmented experience of like social, social media and mediated reality and stuff like that. How to Blow Up a Pipeline, which is also like very experimental and very aggressive in terms of being a movie about like radicalization, stuff like that. And Face of Death is built around the idea of content moderation, where it's a story of like a content moderator at a company, I think it's called Kino, which is very clearly meant to be YouTube, but like just, or Facebook or whatever, where she is just like watching all of this horrible stuff and just like having to flag yes, no, acceptable, rated, moderated, inappropriate content, etc. And just having to sit at a desk 8 hours a day and just process all of the worst stuff on the internet with the profit motive of, by the way, keep the most salacious stuff up because that keeps people clicking and that keeps people engaged. Ooh. And the idea of somebody enacting like a Faces of Death, which is this, for anyone who doesn't know, Face of Death is a classic video nasty, which was sold as like authentic footage of like real life deaths. It was in part for footage that had been bought from like, various sources around the world of people dying in accidents, but a lot of it was actually staged. It turns out a lot of it was fake. So it was a fake video that was presented as being real. And in the context of this movie, it's a fake video that's presented as being real, that is made real in a movie that is fake and narrativized. And it has all these kind of layers of reality that like is a very clever premise for a movie where you're like, what is real and what is fake in this era of like deep fakes and AI and like alternative facts and like the fragmented American reality. And it just kind of turns into a generic slasher movie in its back half that is fine. Like it's basically competent. Like
it's a good concept for a way to bring back Faces of Death. I think that is an interesting, like dealing with content moderation, which is like a true nightmare to anyone who has to work in there, which I know a few people who have.
Yeah, like but it's like prime, like growing up on like Rotten.com. Like, what does Faces of Death mean to a generation who went to Rotten.com?
Sure,
like, it's a
or
really
we can just
hook.
open up Twitter and see like literal murders and deaths.
Yes.
Right.
Yeah, like decapitate. Like that's the thing, and it's like. And it's a really good premise. And that is kind of why that movie frustrates me a little bit, where it's like, for the first 15 minutes of the movie, I am so in. I am like, is this a masterpiece? Am I going to see something that would like be one of my favorite movies of the year? And instead it ends up being just like a fun, self-aware slasher, where like there's a conversation where like at one point she asked the killer why Faces of Death. And he's like, well, everyone knows that reboots trend better. And I'm like, I see what you did there, movie. You're self-aware, and I'll allow it, but you're on thin ice with me, mister. And
But I'll allow it.
I'll allow it. It's
I'm
sustained.
writing you up. Yeah.
And then just two more very, very quickly to run through them very, very fast. Mother Mary, the David Lowery movie, which is the one where Anne Hathaway plays Lady Gaga, including like in the middle of like Anne Hathaway's incredible year for cinema, where she's doing this, she's doing The Odyssey, she's done Devil Wears Prada too, she's doing The House at the End of Oak Street, and she's got that Colleen Hoover adaptation coming up as well, Verity I think it's called. This is Lowery making a movie about Lady Gaga that he shoots like the Green Knight, which is kind of an incredible combination. It is like, I run hot and cold on Lowery, where like I love, like obviously I love the Green Knight. I love the dragon. What was the Pete's Dragon? I think Pete's Dragon is beautiful as well. Ghost Story is a bit much for me, I'm gonna be honest. And his
what about when she eats that pie? She eats a whole pie in one shot. That's crazy. So much pie.
But like Mother Mary is like crazily my jam, where like David Lowery is like, what if pop stars are our modern religion, where it's like it's a religious epic about the experience of being at a Lady Gaga concert, where it's like, what if God moves through Lady Gaga? And it is this story about like the construction of image and the construction of celebrity, where the entire movie is largely like her relationship to Sam, who is her costume designer. And Sam is this woman who like designed her and built her up and created this iconic image that is her star persona, and resents her because she felt like she never got the credit that she deserved for it. But also they both had an encounter with a ghost, and there's an exorcism in the middle of the movie, and all of reality unfolds inside a remodeled church that happens to be the warehouse where Sam works. And there's this incredible sequence where like Mary performs one of her songs without singing it by dancing and throwing herself around the room that looks like a sequence from The Exorcist. It is a really ambitious film. It is maybe a little bit weird. It is certainly out there. It is Lowery like in full Green Knight mode, but it is, I think, like very interested in things like the idea of like religious experience, spirituality, and the idea of like pop as a medium for that. And like in particular, like women and femininity, without getting all like Maud Lebowski about it. It is a very vagina-forward movie, is how I would describe Mother Mary, in a way that is very interesting. Really liked it.
Would you also watch Big Lebowski this week? Because that's the second time you've referenced Big Lebowski.
It's just always on in the background.
It's always playing in my head. Like right now, I'm just watching the just Mike Walkidish. And then finally, just very quickly, Normal, which is the new Bob Odenkirk movie, in which he plays a sheriff who moves to a small town as the interim sheriff and discovers that there is a conspiracy that absolutely everybody on the town is in on. And it is a movie that is so firmly rooted in the 1980s and this is not a spoiler. This is the first moment of the movie. So rooted in the 1980s that it is a movie about how small town America is being taken over by the Japanese Yakuza. Yes. The big
fucking great.
That sounds great.
It is good fun. I had a surprisingly good time with it. I liked it a bit more than I liked. What are the other ones? Nobody. That's the other Bob Odenkirk action movies.
And the second one came out, right? That like
yes, with Sharon Stone, which is not good at all. And the thing with Nobody is like nobody tries to do that thing of have its cake and eat it, where it's like, seems like this guy has a real crisis of masculinity that he has to act out through violence. Isn't that sad? And I'm like, yes, maybe it is sad, but it's also like, isn't it also awesome? And I'm like, it can't be both of those things simultaneously, movie. You can't do that. That's cheating.
Punisher begs to differ. Sometimes you can be two things and it's totally fine.
What if I ate my cake and also still had my cake? This is all what I'm saying.
Yeah. We all contain multitudes, Marty.
Yeah.
But Normal, I had a good time with it. It's not incredible. It is a little cliche at points. In particular, like the idea that like the insidious conspiracy at the heart of modern small town America is that they have too much foreign influence at their core is maybe a bit of a reach that I don't know I can join the movie on, but it is very charming. It's very goofy. It's very silly. And it does manage to capture that spirit of like a dumb 80s action movie better than a lot of the movies that try to capture that spirit of a dumb 80s action movie, if that makes sense. It feels more like this could have been, I don't want to say a Steven Seagal vehicle because that sounds mean, but it could have been like a Jean-Claude Van Damme vehicle in the 1980s. Jean-Claude Van Damme is
like Michael Dudikoff, maybe?
Yeah. He's Jean-Claude Van Damme is the new American sheriff in the town of Normal. He's all American. He's called John.
John Normal.
John Normal. But yeah, so I think I managed to get through everything that I've watched this week.
Perfect. Super chat time. Hawk CBM, thank you so much. 2 donos back to back. Saw Obsession, Turner, and the Sheep Detectives last week. All different, but all good. Obsession was terrifying. Turner, nice surprise. I don't actually know what Turner is. That's a Marty. A Marty. Tuner. My mistake.
That's the one starring Leo Woodall and Dustin Hoffman. It's about a guy who tunes pianos, but also he can crack safes. And so
that's a fun little combo. I like that.
It next Wednesday. I'm looking forward to it. Sorry.
And then Sheep Detective was charming and also followed up with Jack. My Sheep Detective projector had a wet lens. What's going on, guys? Fucking wipe down your lenses, y'all.
Mine had a smudgy screen.
But not with your thumb. Like the problem is
not with your thumb.
Down,
do it with like a little glasses wipe. RIP back. Thank you so much. Watching Mortal Kombat 2 was a fatal mistake. I think there was a pun there, but I don't play Mortal Kombat games enough to do it. Also, spending $500 on glasses alone was crazy. These are $500 sunglasses, you asshole. Famous line from the second best Mortal Kombat movie, first best Mortal Kombat movie being 2026's Mortal Kombat 2. Nick No with a $5 dono. Thanks, Nick No. Mortal Kombat producers pander directly to the audience. Jack and Darren, look how pandering this is. It's insulting. Do they think I'm an idiot? Marty, this is awesome. This is the multitudes we can pay. Sometime, catch me at the right time, baby. Pander me senseless.
And that's the joy of it all. Like, Marty can like this movie. You can like this movie. You can like anything. That's okay.
You don't gotta go to jail.
The Green Lantern trailer that was out this week, like for the first 2 minutes of that, where it's like a look at the ring construct, look at Sinestro, look at the all the stuff from the comics. I'm like, oh man, this is just so pandering. And then it gets to the final 5 seconds, and it's like Laura and Lenny's like, you go get them, John Stewart. And I'm like, fuck, I'm in. I like it when you pander to me. Yeah, I like it.
Yeah, I'm really excited for that Lantern show.
Yeah,
I'll be there day one for anything Damon Lindelof related. Nick Knoll, thank you so much. Quote, I'm beginning to rant. I'm sorry. Darren, why the fuck do you think we're here?
For another 20 minutes, roughly?
Wait, is it confirmed? Is Nick and Jenna actually streaming?
The stream is set up. The stream is set up.
That's why Marty has set speed to 1.5.
This is normal speed. I don't know what you guys are talking about. Sussy Guru with a €5 dono. And Kirk didn't need the power of friendship to kill God. That can't be true. I'm sure Kirk used some things that his friends gave him in order to kill God.
Okay, 30 seconds on this very, very quickly. One of the big tensions of making Star Trek V was that all the other actors who worked on the film were like, you need to actually give us something to do, William Shatner. And William Shatner on the commentary for Star Trek V is absolutely incredible because he's like, after these guys make a couple of movies, they get giant egos. They start to think that they're the star of the show and that they need to be given things to do. I would wholeheartedly recommend if you watch Star Trek V, watch it with the director's commentary with William Shatner and I believe his daughter, because nobody else from that cast will appear on that commentary with him. I'm done.
That is kind of beautiful, needing to wrangle your fucking kid to do that because everyone hates you. That is sad as hell. Quintuple with a $2 dono. Thank you so much. Clever Darren making Jack listen to Star Wars talk. It's fine. That was a little Star Wars talk. That wasn't a whole episode of Star Wars talk. So Jack will be fine.
No, I was farming for stones. So it's okay.
He knows how to disassociate.
I got a bolt stone while that was happening.
You don't make it to 40 in America without learning how to disassociate every once in a while.
I mean, you care about the Hutt twins. You're all about the Hutt twins, right?
Listen, he's got a Babu Frick tattoo. I don't know if he has a Babu Frick tattoo.
I might have a Babu Frick tattoo.
Babu Frick.
They bring back Charlie Henderson. She didn't do the show, but she comes back for the movie.
Hell yeah. That's how you know they got the big bucks on this one. Jonathan Griffin with a $10 dono. Watched Born Again Season 2. Found the writing in general clunky and the action just fine. That said, the season did have a little more visual identity compared to the last one, and the acting was stellar.
Cox is very good, and D'Onofrio's part of it is I don't mind. Yeah, just let them hang out together. Have them do a podcast. Do a Daredevil podcast where they just hang out and chat together.
Vanessa, I cannot. My Zoom is not working.
Right.
No. Aren't you allergic to pineapple? He said.
The acting is never anything I will ever nitpick. They're great. They're great as their characters. I wish that they had better things to say. I wish that they had better interactions with these fascinating characters. We know the characters are fascinating because they've been written for 40 years. You have 40 years to pull from for fascinating stuff. And we have good actors behind them, and they have money because Disney makes it. Yet it's still shitty.
Curious.
Curious.
Wonder what's
Give
going on
Werner
there.
Herzog the Baby Yoda puppet $8 million in 8 months and just whatever he comes back release. That's all you have to do. It's not difficult.
Hell yeah, baby. You're speaking my language right there. Jonathan Griffin with a $5 donut. Also, Punisher One Last Kill. Writing not great. Action was good, though. Smaller environments felt kind of similar to the Raid or the Roundup. Yeah.
Yeah,
nice.
very much that vibe.
Pretty spot on. R.I.P. Thank you so much. Darren wonders if he's cool enough to be a target audience of new movies. Marty's constantly falling asleep when watching a movie. It just happened for the Testament of Ann Lee. What are we doing using the word constantly? And Jack can't remember if he watched something. That being said, I also can't remember if I watched something.
We
need someone younger on this podcast.
Right?
Yeah, rewind babies.
We are hipping with it.
Yeah, exactly. Jonathan Griffin back with another $5. Thank you so much. Lastly, still behind because of work stuff. So on an earlier note, have found it interesting comparing Damien in Morrison versus Damien in Super Sons.
Yes, very quickly, we'll get okay, I've got the timer
Famous
down there.
last
1 minute.
words.
Famous last words. Damian Wayne is a character who is very difficult to write. Morrison has a very clear conception of them. The idea of Bruce Wayne's ninja trained son, who is also heir to a massive criminal empire and is also a sociopath, is a very difficult concept to get right. I think that any people other than Morrison have really struggled with that. I think Tomasi does actually get closest. It's very telling that Tomasi not only wrote the Super Sons, which is Superman's son and Bruce's son hanging out together, he also wrote the Batman and Robin run after Morrison as well. But yeah, nobody writes Damien quite like Morrison writes Damien, my lovely little sociopath. I love him so much.
My lovely little sociopath.
I mean, he beats the Joker nearly to death with a crowbar. What don't you like? No,
Clown Prince of Crime.
But also the Joker beat the previous Robin to death with a crowbar, so he really did have it coming.
Karma. It's a wheel.
Yeah.
Saucy Guru and the Green Gang. Thank you so much. Wait a minute. An actor wrote his own movie? Oh, no. Yeah. Usually it's a bad... yeah. I'm sure there's examples of
Ben Affleck and Matt Damon. That's a good example. Yeah.
Yeah. But that's one of those, they started... this is you played the character for a long time, and then at a certain point, we're it's almost like the Kirk thing, like you mentioned.
I meant to say, we all remember Star Trek 5, right?
Yeah. You fight Scott in that one. Did you guys know that? I learned that today.
Marty, I didn't know. You're such a... This is what's great being on a Star Trek podcast.
Wait till I tell you about the commentary. Look at that. I learned two things.
I know it was not to bring up the Star Wars the Last Jedi, but everyone made a big deal when when Mark Hamill was talking about what a bad, I didn't like how they handled Luke and blah 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 blah. I came across a thing recently where he was bemoaning. He's like, I remember in the early days, we had to actually reshoot a lot of the original Star Wars because George Lucas changed my character's name. I used to be Luke Starkiller. And then he's like, we changed it to Skywalker. So we actually had to reshoot some scenes. And I remember that was a really bad idea. I really think I should have been Luke Starkiller. And sometimes you can't trust actors. This is all I'm saying is actors are dumb.
do want to shout out Leonard Nimoy's direction of Star Trek 3 and Star Trek 4, which he also I believe co-worked and where the story from is very good. It does work both ways. And I think
did the actors join him for the commentary there?
Oh yeah, everybody fucking loves Leonard Nimoy. Yeah. The thing about it, that's why Shatner only directed Star Trek 5 because Nimoy had directed the 2 previous Star Trek movies. Shatner has been on record being I didn't even really have a take for Star Trek 5. It just seemed like something I should do. It's what you want to hear.
Snake in the Garden with a €5 dono. Thanks, Snake, for keeping me company while I deal with stupid messages from work colleagues way too late. Darren, thoughts on Cannes Film Festival this year from outside? Have you followed any of the coverage? I have not been following too much of it.
I know that there's a bunch of people there. It does seem like the festival itself, the competition itself is maybe not a great year, but I mean, it's always like that. And it's particularly always like that at the start before before one movie hits like lightning. It is very telling that I think the movie that has hit like lightning was the one that aired outside of competition, which is obviously the teenage sex and death at Camp Miasma, which seems to be arriving as an anointed masterpiece. I do also want to shout out, I text this to everybody who is at Cannes. The number one, Darren would be refreshing the ticket site daily to get tickets to go see this movie, is John Travolta's single propeller night flight movie.
Yeah. What's going on with his face? He looks weird now.
I was gonna say, Eric, can we bring up a picture of John Travolta at Cannes?
There he is.
Yeah, I think somebody described he looks like Popeye's queer older brother, and I'm like, can I pull off a beret? That's my question. Could I pull off a beret?
I think you could pull off a beret.
By the way, he has explained that, like, when he was asked about the beret, he's like, well, I'm just doing this because I was talking to some other film directors and they were like, I have difficulty when I see photos of myself placing myself in a particular moment. So I came up with the idea of what I would do is this will be my beret phrase. So whenever I'm older and I'm looking at pictures and I have a beret in it, I'll know that this is from the time when I was doing this movie and this promotion for this movie. And I'm like, Sean, that's actually kind of sweet. I do also want to shout out that it is very obvious that the movie, which is adapted, speaking of actors writing their own material, it is written, directed by, and produced by John Travolta, adapting the novel by John Travolta. And it is very obviously about the passage of his wife and his son. And I'm actually very earnestly very excited to see that because, like, it does feel like, even if it's kind of not a great movie, it does feel like somebody putting their heart on film in a way that, like, I'm very, like, that sort of emotional vulnerability really appeals to me. So I was texting everybody who was at Cannes saying, you know, like, when I was at Cannes, Darren needs to see the Jim Henson documentary from Uncle Ron Howard. Just so we're clear, the John Travolta adapts the novel by John Travolta movie is the Darren pick of the Cannes Film Festival.
Yes.
We're gonna have Travolta week here, right? As soon as we knock out
After
Waterworld
Water
week.
Week.
Travolta week. Yeah.
Phenomenon. Michael.
Oh my God. Could you imagine a Phenomenon Michael double feature?
Fanatic, like so many good choices. Oh, Gotti! Gotti! Critics put out a hit.
Pulp Fiction. Not even gonna touch Pulp Fiction or Grease. And then
critics put out the hit, but audiences bounce back.
And then our last two donos. Thank you so much, R.I.P. Will all the donos be read in time? Find out on the next episode of the Rewind Z. And then last dono
opens with the line. What is it? Gotti opens with the line. Oh yeah, 2 ways out of this life. You could do it's death or prison, and I done both.
Gotti, poet of our generation. Goddamn, Gotti.
Beautiful.
Do we know when this Travolta movie coming out this year? Do we know?
It'll be on Apple, I believe, at the end of May. It's going straight to streaming.
And very soon. There you go. That's it. We did it. We made it to the end. I'm so proud of us. There's plenty of time for Nick to start his stream in 20 minutes.
Last dono super chat.
I was reading it while you were still talking about Travolta. I did read both. I think you started saying something about Phenomenon, and I started screaming the dono, and I think the audience heard neither of them. Jack,
Eric maybe trying to communicate something to us.
Jack, what do you have going on? What can folks know about your neck of the woods?
First of all, we have 20 full minutes left before they start streaming.
Stop it! No, we don't. I mean, yes, we do, but no, we don't.
That reminds me, I actually finished the third season of The Mandalorian for the first time, and I have some thoughts to unpack.
Okay. All right. Well, I will be back on Thursday with Jez Hoops for continuing our Poke a Man Dark Souls 2 run. We made it through one of the DLCs already, which is the first time I've actually ever played through that DLC. So now to the Thursday, we'll go through another one. And really, we're just kind of waiting for that funding goal. And as soon as that hits, I'll stop and Marty will start the Fallout, the new Fallout, which is great.
Yeah, really looking forward to that.
Yeah.
And excited to be playing Fallout with you guys again in that Thursday slot again.
Absolutely.
Yeah, it'll probably be early-ish June. Probably, yeah. I'm guessing first, second week of June. Cool. And Adventures Nigh?
No new Adventures Nigh this week. Episode 1 and the level up is out now if you haven't seen those yet. And then next week, Saturday, we get to episode 2. All the chaos begins. 6 players. Yeah. It's super fun.
Yeah, episode 2 is a banger. Darren. Obviously, you're the backdrop that you and Jesse did one up this morning.
Yes, a result of a conversation with Nick just about this kind of discourse that's been taking place recently about like fidelity in adaptation, in particular fidelity in video game adaptation. The question of like who you make an adaptation for and how you make that adaptation and what it means to translate a work of fiction from one medium to another and how you measure the quality of that, which is something that always fascinates me. It's an idea that I've always had a bit of an interest in. And so just getting to talk about that was just really good and just a really cathartic experience for me. And again, shout out to Jesse, who did a fantastic job on that. And like basically, like I was out after I kind of wrote the script and I kind of edited it on. I kind of recorded it. Jesse kind of really carried it across the finish line. Really incredible job. So just to shout that out. And columns, which are out at the weekend. So like last weekend, I talked about the ending of Daredevil Born Again. So Jack cannot read that one yet, unfortunately. And I also wrote about Obsession, which is a piece that I think I'm actually quite proud of that piece. I think it's a piece that makes a good argument for how
made me view the movie in a slightly different through a slightly different lens, and so I thought it was great. Yeah.
And then obviously this weekend I'll be talking about like the Mandalorian and Grogu and something else possibly, maybe the Devil in Silver, depending on kind of how things go. So yeah, you can check those out. And in August I'll be talking about something, I guess. So you can check those articles when they come out too.
Can't wait.
Still shocking to me. You're like 4 months ahead. That's mind-boggling. And then in terms of stuff on the site, I had video essays that went up over the last week or so. One that Eric edited on Super Mario Wonder's Secret Bosses, which was incredible, and then one that Casey edited on Pragmata, both of which really proud of. Check those out. And then on the stream front, like we mentioned, in 15 minutes, Nick and Jenna will be back, and they'll be starting Nick's Prince of Persia: Sands of Time playthrough, which you guys incredibly funded. So thank you guys so much for that. And then we should have the normal car wash of streams the rest of the week, Yahtzee Tries and Star Fox 64 tomorrow. And then besides Elden Ring, should be normal RPG Help Desk and Firelink on Thursday. And then for members of the Phoenix tier, we're doing, I'll bug the channel right after this, but we're doing our Phoenix tier movie night on Friday, this Friday, 2 p.m. Central. So like 45 minutes ago on Friday. I'll ping the channel and send a message to Patreon for that. So tune in for that. And then, I do streams on my personal channel. Probably tonight in a couple hours, I'm going to be playing that new Lego Batman game came out. Darren, a Lego Batman game came out.
Is that out already?
Yeah, I think the early access is out now. It's like out in a few minutes.
Okay.
Yeah, or in a few days. Sorry, I think like 2 days.
I've heard great. Like apparently it's like an Arkham game, but with Lego.
They said it's like a big open world Batman game that pulls from like every iteration of Batman ever.
Yes.
And,
that's great.
I'm excited to
they should not release video games in peak movie and TV season. Is my only thought on this.
I just think they should not release video games anymore and just let us catch up. There's too many of them to play. I think we should just stop it.
Pause.
Yeah. I look forward to playing this in like mid-September and being very on top with some very hot takes. Yeah.
Perfect. But yeah, that's going to do it for us. Thank you so much to everyone who tuned in live, anyone who donated super chats, all of our incredible patrons, and anyone listening on your podcast service of choice or to the VODs. We appreciate each and every one of you. So for Jack and Darren and Eric, this was Marty. This was the Rewind episode number 46. Everyone have a wonderful rest of your Tuesdays, and we'll see you back here in 15 minutes. With some Prince of Persia.
Bye, everyone.
Definitely back next week. 2 weeks from now. Bye.